Esta
This
es
call is now
Global
being
Telling.
recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
Thumbs up.
un
Gracias. I
individuo
highly appreciate that,
encarcelado
Rebecca.
de la prisión estatal de Centinela,
Can you hear the
Centinela,
recording? Can you
California.
hear the phone
Esta
call?
llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga
All
o
right.
oprima ahora
Thank you, Ray
el
Ray.
5.
Gracias.
Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
James.
David.
What's up, my boy?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yep.
Hey,
It's going all right. Just kicking. Yep.
hey man,
cracking?
what's going on over there in Centinela, man? Every time it seems like I jump on YouTube, I hear something popping off. Well, what kind of activities you guys got going on over there?
Well, right now, Jesse and I, we're on lockdown, right? Centinela is all bad right now. It's all bad. We got, Jess right now, he's coming. He was getting some oatmeal together because we need some nourishment,
Yeah.
We need some nourishment. We got to make sure that we're healthy, because it's all we're on lockdown because of, I guess there's been like a grip of stabbings over there on the other yards. There was like 4 last week alone, and then the other 2 yards there was like multiple stabbings. There's been like 187s over there. There's been it's been cracking. So I don't know why they want to mess with this yard. They messed with this yard. They came into our classroom the other day. We were at college, and they told everybody needs to return to the cell right now. And they canceled all our visits for the rest of the month. They said no visits, no movement, no nada.
Damn.
What's cracking?
Hey, what's up, Jesse?
Yup. Reporting for duty right here, front and center, presente. What's up? What's cracking?
Hey, so let me ask you guys something right now. So since you guys are on lockdown right now, like how are you seeing like dudes like grow out their beards already? Not showering, not bird bathing, talking to themselves, writing letters to their mom, talking about.
I can't do it. It's too much.
Oh, so you're talking about Felipe?
Yeah, you're talking about Felipe, the no shave November. He's doing the no shave November and December look.
Hey, what did he call in or something? Because that was like word for word.
Yeah, how did he get a video call into you when we're slammed?
That's what I want to know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you know what? We haven't seen none of that yet because there's so much program around here that even the biggest of stress boxes probably even welcome a little downtime. To be honest with you, me personally, I welcome it because it's just there's just constant movement around here that if they want to give us a couple days off, then by all means. It was on the only thing that sucks is about losing visits and stuff like that. But as far as the weekend shot, it's we're not really missing school or anything super significant right now. So for me, it's just a vacation. But I haven't really heard anybody screaming out of the door like, ¡Ayúdame!
Yeah. Let's see these fools though like a week from now.
Yeah, a week from now, and if they're coming
Now
out
we're talking.
looking like Teen Wolf.
Yep, it's true.
Yeah, these guys are gonna get out of here. Literally, I remember one time, a long time ago, when they first started the year-round prison searches right here. I was actually on C status, and I was downstairs right here, and I shit you not, I had a cell phone there, so I wasn't really like tripping, myself for being slammed in the cell, but a lot of these other guys. But I remember like a weekend because nobody had understood. This yard was constant movement, Doug. And so nobody had ever seen a week lockdown in this yard for years,
Yeah.
And literally within a week, dudes were screaming out the door. And not these are regulars. Some of these guys, like a couple of my boys that I knew, and I'm like, what? This fool been down for 15 years, and he's acting like that? Like, he spent a bunch of time on the level 4s and the shoe, and literally like within a week, within 4 days, 5 days, fools are like yelling out the door and catting out. And I was just like, damn. This level 3 that made these cats soft, huh?
No, it's true. And the crazy part, James, honestly, this is still too much program for me. I have to go on lock. Yeah, I'm a shoe baby. I'm a Palm Hall baby. Unfortunately, and so I'm still like overstimulated. I'm running around barking at the wall and. Yep.
He's growling at the Chihuahua every time he gets too close to the vent.
You ever see like a little dog just go crazy in the pad and it's just running all over, jumping on stuff and running back and forth and going in circles? Like that's me right now.
Wow.
looking at the door, barking at people walking by.
Whatever it is, though, whatever's going on right now, it has to be pretty serious, because I've been on this yard right now alone for 6 years, and I've never seen them do this as long as I've been here. I know the other day they had 2 dudes get airlifted, at the same time, and then like a few days before that, 2 days before that, the same thing. They blasted 2 cats at the same time, got airlifted.
Yep.
And so that was in the same week. They had 4 cats and 2 separate incidents, and then on A and B yard they had the same kind of situations going on over there. They had 2 and 2 in each. So whatever's going on over there, cleaning house, whatever, maybe a power dynamic shift. I don't know what's happening. It could be a number of things.
Hey, think about it. Think about that dynamic. Like, we say it loosely, like where it's like, oh well, they coordinated, got 2 dudes, and at the same time. But think about what must have went into that. What I think about. Okay, well, this is 2 dudes. I know when they get 1 dude on the yard, I've been on the yard and we were like, man, it was a big old thing to try to just make sure that everything was coordinated for just 1 individual, But whatever happened, they situated to get 2 people at the same time, simultaneously, So that was double the work, I guess.
I think the way they're thinking, though, is they figure, okay, well, we're going to have heat on the yard.
Yep.
We might as well make it count. And where administration sees it another way. Where the prison, dynamic says, okay, well, you know what? If they're going to hit the yard, they're going to come give us shit. We might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone and get it out the way, and then we can, put it to bed and be done with it, instead of a situation here, a situation there. But prison system sees it like, oh man, if they're doing 2 at a time, then this is. But the crazy thing about it for me that I don't understand is,
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And I've seen all kinds of madness and all kinds of craziness, and what I don't understand is prison used to be way more crazy before, way more chaotic. Situations were happening, dudes were getting butchered. I've seen these 2 at a time, sometimes 3 at a time. I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff. And they train these guys. That's why they pay them the big bucks. They make over $100,000 a year to babysit right here. And when these situations arise, they're trained to go deal with those situations. What I don't understand is like, why all of a sudden now that the situations are far and few between. The training's still the same. They get all these training days. They get paid for all this stuff. We're locked down for training this, training that.
Yep.
And I don't understand why it's such a big deal when it happens. Like, this is prison. That's what you guys are paid to take care of. That's what you guys are trained for. So why is it such a big deal that it's happening so much so that you got to lock the whole prison down, not only affecting, other individuals on those yards, but also a yard like this where they haven't had a violent act on this yard in who knows how long. And when I say violent, I'm talking about a fight, because other than that, there's nothing, I've seen somebody, matter of fact, like a few months ago, somebody got whacked right here, but they got away with it.
Yeah, that was how bad. That was that type of incident where the dude got away with it, and the other guy was just like, damn, I got a bunch of little indentures in my skin.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah,
I knocked him out the other day, so I don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind that I got indentures.
Yeah,
but it's crazy. And I think about this, I think about this whole system and the way it's set up and everything, right? And I talked to James about the non-designated program facility, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
I got, and not only to you, I got to speak to all the viewers. You guys remember that? I had just got on here and I talked about this non-designated program facility. That's what this yard is classified as now. It goes into effect. It's pretty much already in effect. It's just they're not going to start bringing the bodies until March. So it's a 50-50 yard. It's not SNY no more. It's not GP. It's none of that stuff. It's just people that are supposedly programming. So they come and we're thinking, we're like, all right, well, now it's going to be a different dynamic to this environment, because the 50-50 level 3 hasn't really been implemented on a wide scale basis. It's been notoriously CMC East. Everybody knew that the yard was always 50-50.
They have 5 of them now.
Yeah, and now they got 5 of them. So, but it just started. It just kicked off the level 3s, So this is going to be one of them, and we're like, all right, so this is supposed to be enhanced, right? We're programming at a different level now. So what's in it for us? Basically, you guys are putting our lives in danger. You guys are dissolving the GPSNY designation. You're putting everybody together. Anybody who wants to be here can be here. So what do we got coming in this regard? Are you gonna give us better vocations? Are we gonna have master's degree programs? Are we gonna have? I mean, this yard is running like a level 4. This is the only level 3 that I've ever been on that runs like a level 4, and so we're thinking, all right, well, are we going to at least get the yards, upper tier, lower tier yards? What is it? What do we got coming? Because these they put these institutional videos, and they got these dudes working under cars, and they have like badass carpentry vocations and all these things, and they're saying that the NDPS are supposed to be the pinnacle of rehabilitation in California. So these dudes go to the warden meeting the other day, and the warden's basically telling them, you ain't got shit coming. Like, ain't nothing going to change. You guys ain't got shit coming. So he didn't say it that messed up, but they asked him about the double-tier yard, and he's like, oh, we're working on it. Like, what do you mean you're working on it? I thought that this was supposed to be the art in rehabilitation at its finest, the NDPS. And you're telling me you don't even know if the yard's going to open, double-tier yard and stuff like that. That's the message that got back to us. We're thinking...
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
We hear that they're going to bring another voc, like office services, and maybe bring more cohorts for the San Diego State and Imperial Valley College that they have here, for the AAs and bachelor's program. But they were already going to do that. Those are things that were in the works for a while. So they're going to bring this population on this yard up to 750 people. I've been on yards that looked like there was about 900 people out there all at the same time on the main line. And I mean, those yards, they seem like they ran cool. Shit happened here and there, but like Jesse said, this is prison. Things are going to happen. There's hundreds, 750 people all cohabitating in a small area. Guess what? Someone's going to get their ass beat in that scenario, here and there. It's just what it is.
Somebody's going to feel like their space is being crowded.
Absolutely. It's just the way things are. No matter how good you're doing, there's somebody that's not going to agree with you. There's somebody you're going to get under somebody's skin. And I'm not saying Jess and I, because we're real saints in this environment, but there are people here. Yeah, we're but there are people in this prison environment that are complete imbeciles. They don't know how to talk to people. They got no social skills. And yeah, they're doing good. Maybe they're not on drugs and stuff like that, but they're socially awkward. So you get them around the wrong person at the wrong time. 750 people to choose from. That guy's going to get himself knocked out here and there. Does that mean that this is a dangerous yard and shit? Well, look what's happening over there in the other yards. But
they'll definitely treat it like it's the end of the world.
Oh man, the way that they run, and they run like it's special forces running in a Fallujah. That's how they deal with it. Little fist fight. These dudes run like freaking like the Pope is getting assaulted, and they're gonna, they're just saturating a situation, and it's just a complete waste of money. The ideology behind it is, I believe, is okay. So protection, right? Protect from the incident. Like as the incident's happening, to respond to the incident, saturate the area, spray the people, do this whole little thing, right? But it's all just a giant show. That's just what it is. Because at the end of the day, don't think for a second that those dudes that got whacked on those yards, that they didn't hear about it beforehand.
Yeah.
They know that shit's happening. There's so many investigations that are probably in motion behind those gang leaders over there and all those things that's going on, and including in these yards. Don't think for a second that word hasn't reached their desk, somebody's desk somewhere. Why aren't they running? Why aren't they running for their lives to solve that issue before it happens? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, well, maybe
no one dudes are like.
Maybe they try to pull those dudes out, and they didn't wanna leave because maybe they they thought they were in that gray area that you guys sometimes mention.
Yeah, it happens like that.
The system is the gray area.
It happens like that because I've been in that situation.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Where literally they pulled me out and they told me like, hey, they're gonna kill you, and it's like, okay, well I'll figure it out. Be like, okay, well in order for you to go back, you have to sign this paper, and and they give you a 128, basically saying we've determined that you have safety concerns. However, you've elected to stay. You've been notified to inform staff if you feel your life is in danger. You've been targeted for assault or murder by this prison gang and that gang and whatever. And you got to sign a paper. So I understand the ideology of the guys being there, and you're absolutely right. Some of them guys, they hear about it and they're like, okay, well, I got to stay because they, just the.
I'm gonna hang up. I think was that 60 seconds, James?
Yeah, you got about 9 seconds right now.
All right, we'll call you back.
Well, you call back.
All right, cool, perfect, thank you. All right. So we're currently live in direct. We got Jesse and David. There's some major changes coming to Centinela, and from what they're saying, they've been locked down since yesterday, and it looks like they're going to be on lockdown throughout the end of the month. Don't quote me on here. This is secondhand information. I went to their website to check what I could find out. And the only thing it does say is that there is no visits coming on. Hey, what's up, Lion Lisa? How's it going? I highly appreciate the likes.
This call is now
And
being
here we are.
recorded.
Esta es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5.
5.
Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
Yep, Jesse, you were on a rant. Can you?
Yeah. So basically, you're right, James. Like it's not necessarily on the staff. A lot of times the staff do their job. They go over there, they tell them, hey, because they can't just take you. At the end of the day, if you're willing to sign the waiver and you're willing to stay there, and I can't say I understand both sides of it because I have also given dudes passes when I heard that they pulled guys out and the guys stayed. It sometimes it gives me another level of respect for him. Like, you know what, man, this dude understands how serious this was. He knew what it was, and he still elected to stay. That kind of speaks to his heart, because a lot of these guys over here, their heart's pumping Kool-Aid. They fly under the radar. They fly under the umbrella like, and they never really have to stand on their own 2 feet. So they don't understand what it is to really be up against the fire. And the second they do, they make a run for it.
They go bang on people on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So when some of the vatos they used to get crossed up, on my watch, and they give food, they come straight to me like, hey, check it out. You know what I mean? They just pulled me out. They had me sign this paper, this and that. What's up? Like, tell me what it is, dog. Like, if I fucked up, let me know how I can fix this. And sometimes, like I said, they'd be days away from getting dug out or getting lifted. You know what I mean? And so I'd be like, you know what, man? The fact that this guy stayed here, understanding how serious it is, they get to see every day the kind of things we're doing to people around here, and they stuck. It lets me know, like, sometimes it'd be a situation where it could be not in their favor, but there's not a strong enough case that it's solidified, and it's a swing vote type thing, and it'd be like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give this man his vote, because the fact that he stood there and held his ground and came and faced the music like he was supposed to, and like, hey, tell me what I did wrong, or tell me how to fix this, or I didn't know that, they plead their case and they explain themselves, and for me, it's like, all right, and this dude's going to get a pass, and so a lot of these guys, when staff pull him out, because sometimes staff can get word on some bullshit investigations, sometimes they're legit, and so for them to stick around, it's understandable, not only that, I also understand the other aspects, you know what I mean? Like the fear, like for me in the end, like the reality is they were going to kill me, you know what I mean? That's just the truth about it, you know what I mean? It is what it is. I overplayed my hand, and and I say it all the time. Sometimes it's chicken shit, and so it's about, like, the reality was when they pulled me out a couple months before they actually came and took me off the yard, they had me sign something. And in my mind, I was like,
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
there's something I can do to fix this situation. I have to figure this out. You know what I mean? Like, my heart doesn't pump Kool-Aid, so I'm not worried about that. But there was fear. There's fear. And anybody says there isn't fear, they're a damn lie. You know what I mean?
Straight up.
But there was two kinds of fears. For me, the fear of being hurt or being murdered was less than the fear of what it was going to be to give up the only thing I knew, to give up the name that I had built for myself, to give up my existence, the illusion of who I thought I was. that fear trumped, it superseded the fear of actually being murdered. It superseded the fear of being hurt critically, because that was my whole thought. Like I was like, I'll see them coming, and it is what it is. We'll deal with it when that time comes. I'm not scared. I've been there. I've been on both ends of the knife. I know what it's like, and hopefully everything turns out all right. But what my fear was, how can I fix this? Like, damn, if I do go out backwards, like, who am I? Like, what are the homies going to think? How is this going to look? After everything I've done, is this how things are going to end? And those were the conversations I was having, and that fear, like, I was just like, you know what? I'd rather die. I'd rather die. I'd rather die than have to face who I would be without this life that I've created for myself, And I rode that, like I said, for a couple more months until they actually came and got me themselves and snatched me off the yard. And when they snatched me off the yard and I was sitting back there in the hole, they basically told me, like, look, we got the same reliable information again, and we can't be responsible. Like, oh well. And I got to the hole and I 602'd it, and they basically told me, well, it doesn't matter. You got two options. You can go to RCGP or you can go to the DPU. And so with everything that's going on over there, even if these guys do know, there's a lot of other factors at play. The fear of the unknown is sometimes far outweighs. We get desensitized to the act of violence, of being a victim or victimizing. We get desensitized because violence is such a common thing for us in here that it's like, oh well, that's a temporary pain. That's temporary. That's not going to hurt forever. I've been stabbed. I've stabbed people. Like, everybody I know that's been stabbed came back from it, or everybody I stabbed. You start rationalizing that behavior in your mind, and it gives you the illusion of courage to stick around. But when you start thinking about the permanent things, like, damn, if I go out backwards, if I leave, then my career's over. I'm done. That's it. Who am I? That person doesn't exist. That fear is permanent. You think it's permanent when you're living that life. Like, I believed it was permanent. When I actually threw in the towel, I was sick to my stomach literally for 2 weeks. Like, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Like, I was sick. Like, literally, I was nauseous. Like, I'd wake up. It was just a weird feeling, because it was in a sense it was a death. And I was sitting there like, man, like, this is it. It wasn't honestly until a couple of the homies came back. I didn't go to yard or anything. I didn't go to shower or yard. I just bird bathed in the cell, worked out in the cell. I didn't leave my cell because I was so ashamed of myself to walk down the tier and see any of the homies, any of the camaradas, and I felt like I had shit on my face, And so when a couple of the homies came back from yard one day, my vecinos, my next door neighbors, they knocked on the wall right there, and they got on the vent and they whispered, and they were like, hey. And they're like, hey, fool, they're like, what's up, you good? And I was like, yeah, what's up? And they're like, hey, fool, like, man, are you sure there's nothing you could do? Like, come on, fool. And they're little homies. I had schooled them a little bit when they got there, and I had even told them when I threw in the towel, I was like, look, man, I'm letting you guys know right now, everything that I schooled you guys on, that's legit. What I'm doing right now is bad. It's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, and I still believed in it. That's the reality. Is when I threw in the towel, it was self-preservation. I still believed in the life that I was living. I just knew that the gig was up. You know what I mean? Like, that there was really nothing else I could do. And so I had told them, like, hey, fool, I'm taking myself off program. I'm giving up the hold to the homie. You know what I mean? Like, just so you guys know that what I'm doing is foul. You know what I mean? Like, that ain't cool. You know what I mean? Like, just stay true to yourself and stay true to what I told you and the things that you guys know are right, and they're like, man. So when they came in and knocked on the wall and told me, like, hey, fool, like, are you sure? And I was like, nah, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I say it all the time, you can't unsuck a dick. You know what I mean? Like, what's done is done. You know what I mean?
That one always cracks me up.
Yeah, famous quote.
Yeah, the old famous quote, you can't unsuck a dick.
I'm going to put that on a T-shirt.
And so
yep. Look for that shirt. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Look for that shirt.
And so when they told me, they were like, hey, fool, I just wanted to tell you that the homie said to send theirs to you. There was a couple other camaradas down the tier. That, like I said, I was good with everybody. I was good with all the homies. And so it just, I would just, like I said, I overplayed my hand, and so they were like, hey, fool, a couple of the homies, mentioned a few names, like, they were in the cages next to me, and they said, when we came in, if we could send their love to you and just tell you to keep your head up, fool, and this and that, and so after that day, like, for some reason, like, that's how disillusioned I was to just the whole thing, like, after that day, like, I felt better about myself, like, I was like, all right, well, you know what, at least they don't think I'm just an outright piece of shit. Like that's how I see myself. I literally felt like I had shit on my face. Like I couldn't even look at these dudes in the face walking down the tier, and that's just how, like how strong and entrenched this distorted belief and perspective is in us when we're living that life. So those dudes that are there, like it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Not so much anymore like the youngsters, they don't breed them like that. But I'll tell you, the dudes that, the dudes from a different generation, like they believe in that shit. These youngsters, they'll drop backwards in a heartbeat because they don't really stand for anything,
Yep. I hear about that. Yeah, they a lot of people, they check in before as soon as they get to reception or even in county judges because they don't want to deal with, working out or listening to other people or, whatever the reasons are.
Right. And it would be one thing, I would completely commend that. Like I encourage anybody that comes in to throw in the towel. But I don't, if you're going to come in here and throw in the towel and come over here to these S&Y yards and think you're thugging still and continue about your business, then you might as well just stay there. Why drop out of the pros to come play high school ball or come play Little League? You know what I mean? Like, it don't make no sense to me. Like, if you built like that, if you a gangster and you're a goon and you thugging, then why don't you go do it where the shit's real, where it's real in the field? Don't come over here acting like that, and I can understand that now, and I'm telling you this because I also came over here and continued the life that I was living here on the main line. I continued that same kind of lifestyle here because I understand, I didn't understand what it was. But now that I do, like these youngsters that have the sense to come in prison and say, oh, I don't want to follow rules. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Like, hey, man, more power to you. You have more sense than I did. I gave 20 years to following somebody else's rules.
Hey, and I got a question from Gordita Anita, and she writes, what was Jesse embarrassed? I don't understand. Can you clarify?
What was he? What?
Why was I embarrassed?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just super embarrassing. Go ahead. That shit was...
I was embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
I was embarrassed because the reality of it is, like, I had built this name and this identity and this presence about myself for years and years and years. I was a gang leader, so like everywhere I went, like I held a certain level of respect. And so everything that I preached, everything that I preached, I stood on. I believed in it. I told everybody. And so it's like, now by throwing in the towel and committing to dropping out of the gang, I was going against everything I ever stood for. So in my mind, it was like I said, like it's basically like sucking a dick. I was going against everything I stood and believed. So everybody would be looking at me like, dude, you're fucked up. Like, you're a weirdo. There's just so many different ideologies wrapped around this side and that side. So it was embarrassing because I felt like everybody would be looking at me like a pariah, like I was in exile, which is the truth. This is absolutely how they were looking at me, because I've looked at many people the same way, and so it's like, okay, you're no longer one of us. Like, that you're tainted. There's a chink in your armor. There's something wrong with you because now you're not of good metal to stand where we are. And so it's embarrassing to think that, like, okay, because it was seen as a weakness, like it was
a magic word right there.
Yeah, it was seen as a weakness when you throw in the towel and you decide to go the other way, and you can't stand and honor the beliefs and the ideology, the propaganda that we've pumped for so many years. Then to us, we're taught that it's a weakness. Oh, they only go that way because they're weak. They only go that way, because there's something wrong with them. They only go that way, and in a sense, there's some truth to it. Like a lot of guys do leave because they were weak. I could have stayed and got murdered. I've seen guys stay and get stabbed again and get murdered, and hey, more power to them. I believe I have a little more sense than that. Like, I just don't see that. Like, I've been stabbed more than once, and I've went back out and fixed my situation and went about my business and continued doing what I was doing, and I've turned around and had to stab people in return behind the same kind of politics. But this was a situation that there was going to be no coming back from. So to me, it was like, okay, am I going to go back out here and get stabbed again for what? Like, somebody gets lucky, yeah, these dudes may not know what they're doing, but you get somebody that does, and then I'm a dead man for what? For pride, for ego, for the illusion of something that doesn't exist anymore, because no matter how you spin it, my name is done. And so it was embarrassing in that sense. I didn't want to look weak. I didn't want to look like I had betrayed, my brothers and the people that stood with me for so long.
Hey, Jesse, and let me
I
ask
felt
you.
like
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
So when you were
Right.
when you were there and you decided to walk away, was there anybody there that told you, hey, you know what, like it's not even worth it, just walk away and that's that, like you're good with us, or was everybody pretty much do you think everybody just pretty much that it was all bad, you deciding to lock it up?
No, hell, and I'm gonna be straight up with you, James. Palabra and Marcelo will tell you, like, that's one thing with me.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
That there was a bunch of dudes that supported me in the end. I'm gonna be straight up with you. Even while I was on this side doing my thing on this side, I still dealt with a bunch of the homies that were active. Like, that's who was sending me the cloud one year. That's the, like, bunch of dudes from everywhere, like, because I took care of a lot of cats, like, I wasn't one of them fools that was into breaking homies, like, I understood what it was like. My journey on this, 23 years ago started out on a bumpy road, I'm gonna call you back.
Okay, all right, cool, we'll be waiting. All right, so for anybody that any of you guys that are new here, that's Jesse speaking, Jesse Nava. He has his whole complete journey on our playlist. If you go over to YouTube, look up at Collect Call From, look up the playlist under Jesse Nava, and his counterpart there would be David Lopez. We've gone through their journey from childhood all the way to where they're up now. And it's several interviews over several hours, and normally I come on with them at least once a week. Either not previously in the past I was coming on Sundays. I recently switched it up to Saturdays, and here they are. They're calling right back.
This call is now being
Esta
recorded.
es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5.
5.
Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
Yes.
All
What's
right.
up, James?
All right. So Jesse was.
Yeah. So basically, what you were asking, like, literally, bro, like one of my closest homeboys, like the one that actually was running my barrio for many years, like he was one of the first ones I got at, because I had to let my homeboys from my barrio know, because I had been in a lot of different power struggles, and I've had a lot of haters, a lot of dudes that end up falling at the wayside on my journey. And one thing I didn't want to do is I didn't want my homeboys from my barrio to take a stand, because a lot of dudes have said, oh, he's done, oh, this, oh, that, and in the end, it turned out to just be hater shit and so what I didn't want to do is I didn't want homies from my barrio to take a stand and be like, oh, well, what's up? You disrespecting the homie, like, because we had been through this. I'd been through a grip of power struggles where shit was going bad, and so what I did is I got at one of my homeboys and I had told him, like, hey, fool, that's it. And he's like, well, I had heard and I had told fools to keep your name out of their mouth, until we knew what was up, but so what's up, and I basically told him, like, it is what it is. And so he was just like, basically, well, look, fool, I love you. You're always going to be my brother and shit. He's like, hey, fool, you got to do what you got to do. If you ever want to get out of prison, then that's what you got to do, But that was not my mindset. I'll make that clear. Like especially when I was having that conversation with him, the furthest thing from my mind was getting out of prison. But that was his first thought, like, hey, fool, well, you know what? If you ever want to get out of prison, I guess, it is what it is, fool. Like your family, and so, and I had that same conversation with several of my homies. I had that same conversation with different dudes from different areas. And everybody was all pretty much like on the same trip, like, hey, fool, we know that if you going out, then it's because you were pushed out, like, and to have that kind of benefit of the doubt, that shit meant a lot, It let me know that I had been doing things the right way, because I didn't have a bunch of dudes bad-mouthing me on the way out, even though that's how I felt, like because I knew what I was doing was wrong. And don't get me wrong, of course there's going to be cheerleaders. I'm sure there was cheerleaders, but as far as I was concerned, the people that mattered, like when I was in the DPU in the dropout unit, in Corcoran Shoe, going to CTC over there, you go on the bus with all the other shoe buildings. And I'd be on there with dudes and homies that be getting at me and stuff like that. And like literally dudes would come back from medical and be like, hey, the homies in 2 block, you got 2 right, 2 left, which is a shoe building. We were in the dropout building, which is 3 left and 3 right. And they'd be like, hey, all them fools in 2 left and 2 right, couple fools, so-and-so said to send theirs to you. And I was getting a lot of like different stuff like that. So it kind of like made me feel like, all right, and when I finally got out here to this yard, of course I got back in the dope game, just because I didn't realize what was wrong with me, so all the same issues that brought me into the bullshit over there, I brought them with me, once I was past the immediate threat of losing my life, survival still kicked in, all the same things that were still wrong with me were still a part of me, so I got back into doing what I knew how to do right here in this yard, and of course I got cell phones and I started calling fools out there in the streets, different fools that are actually my enemies on the streets as far as gangs, but I took care of a lot of these dudes for a long time. So, and when I get out, they're like, man, fool, like it's crazy, dog. Like I can't even imagine you being over there. But check this out, fool. I got you. I love you, dog. Whatever I can do for you, this, like I got a lot of that. So to answer your question, like there was a lot of fools that were basic, like, hey, fool, it is what it is, fool. Like I don't give a fuck. I'm never gonna see you any different. The ones that usually had something to say are fools that were excited about seeing my downfall because they, in my presence, they felt like sheep. You know what I mean? So you get rid of a wolf and the sheep are going to run around the field like, okay, dudes that have something to say or motherfuckers that don't, like don't know left from right. You know what I mean? Like just cats that couldn't tell you if they were coming or going. You know what I mean? So, and again, I'm sure there was plenty of, guys, not to say that everybody was like, oh yeah, he left, it's all good. I'm sure there was plenty of fools also that were in the business that were like, man, fuck that dude, he's gone, because that's basically what it boils down to. I've been there when, I've seen solid ass fools end up leaving, and I've seen homies stand around and start talking shit about them. I even got a regañada from a carnal one time because some of the homies were talking bad about one of my boys that had left, and this fool, like I said, this fool's bona fide, like he's through and through, like way more gangster than 90% of the motherfuckers I've ever met. And so, but in the end, he threw in the towel and he was like, man, I'm cool. Like, what am I doing all this for? It's all a fucking joke, And some of the homies were talking shit about him a while after he left, like 6 months after he left. And I was telling them motherfuckers, like, come on, fool, that fool's not here. Like, why are you even talking about him? What are you guys getting out of talking about a motherfucker that isn't here? He's been gone for 9 months. You know what I mean? Like, and the truth about it is, none of you motherfuckers could walk a quarter mile in that dude's shoes. Let's just be real about it. None of you fools would say anything you're saying right now to that man's face because every last one of you motherfuckers were terrified of him, And it was crazy because there was a brother there with us when we were having this conversation.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And he didn't say nothing to me then. He didn't say nothing to me then because he didn't want to give me a regañada in front of the homies, but later on, because him and I had a court case together. We had a case together, and we got some paperwork that determined that dude had been doing some weird shit along the way. Like in the end, right before he threw in the towel, and he goes, look, fool. He goes, there it is for your own eyes. He goes, so stop sticking up for that. He goes, don't ever stick up for a peseta to the homies, despite how correct you may be in what you're saying. But understand that when a man's heart gets soft, it gets soft. That's just what it is, fool. So you got no business like sticking up for him to the homies, And so I kind of learned my lesson a little bit after that, you know what I mean? Because it kind of like, I did feel like an idiot, you know what I mean? Because I was sticking up for old boy.
Sure.
But yeah, I've seen it. I've seen how people talk about people when they leave. So I could only imagine. I'm sure there was plenty of people that oh yeah, fuck that fool. Yeah, like he should have been done a long time ago or whatever. I can only imagine what kind of whole ass shit was being said, But again, I've had maybe in all my time doing the dumb shit I was doing, I maybe had 2-3 dudes that have ever owned up to anything they've ever said behind my back, and usually those are usually the guys that I gave a break to because it's like, all right, well, at least you're not acting like your bitch ass homie. At least you had the balls to say, hey, fool, I was misled and I bandwagon. You know what I mean? I said something I shouldn't have said. Spence, fool, like, it is what it is. And you got to respect that. You got to respect that because we understand how the game is played. So it's easy to get misled. And I used to tell people all the time, you can only be misled if you're over ambitious, you know. But it is when you got a young dude who doesn't, you know, doesn't know enough about what's going on. And of course, he's gonna bandwagon, you know. I used to tell other homies that were in the same business that I was in, though, oh, fool, they misled me. Like, no, nobody can mislead you. You set yourself up for the mislead. Dudes, vatos that were over ambitious, they're trying to do something that they're not necessarily ready for. They put themselves in situations to be misled because they're not digging through the facts themselves. They're just like, oh, I'm gonna hear whatever I hear and I'm gonna go with it, simply hoping to be a part of something that doesn't necessarily concern them.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's what it is.
let me ask you something. So, if prison would be anything like YA was, how many people do you think wouldn't make it? Wouldn't make the cut?
Oh man, at least 30 to 40%. At least 30 to 40%. That's just the reality of it. You know what I mean? Like, especially nowadays. Nowadays, like I said, these kids, they're hard upon school age. You know what I mean? Like, you don't got a pistol. I'm not to say none of them, they're not killers. You know, you give some little kid a gun or a knife, and of course they're gonna use a weapon out there in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? Because their impulse control is limited. You know what I mean? So they're like children with, you know. So, but as far as like you know, like actually having to like stand on their own 2 feet.
Yeah.
Not very many, man.
Not very many, bro. It's just, and that was one of the things that was always so hard for me to understand, you know, being a YA baby, coming in here, and it's like, well, hold on, you know, I've been in control of certain level 4 yards, and I used to let the homies fight, you know, like that was my thing.
I used to do the same thing.
I'd be like, hey, take that shit in the cell. And then, hey, well, we can't fight, or we're not supposed to be fight. What do you mean? Well, hold on. Like, you disrespected that, man, and now you're looking for me to pull you out of it? Go in the cell, handle your business, and if I hear about this again, if I hear about this on the yard, then both you motherfuckers are gone. You should have thought about that before you disrespected him, or you know what I mean. And so, and I've seen that a lot. You know what I mean. And of course, I got in trouble for it. Oh, you're not supposed, because we got a no, you know, back then they had a no hands-on policy. You know, so. You know, they're not supposed to be fighting. You know, camaradas are not supposed to be fighting with each other. But to me, it's like, come on, man. Like, if you didn't have that no hands-on policy, I bet you wouldn't have the attitude that you got, or you wouldn't be talking to people the way that you do and pushing the envelope as far as you do, because you understand that you're going to have to let your nuts hang at some point in time. And so, for me, like in the you know, yards that I've been on, or you know, buildings where in my building, where it's like, all right, you know, if you guys feel that disrespected by it in the sense that you can't, you know, put it to bed on your own, then go handle it. Go handle it in the cell. And if I hear about it outside of the cell, then you guys are going to feel your hand, and you guys are gone. You can either be gone on each other, or I'm going to send somebody on you, you know?
So a lot of people use those rules as a security blanket to be able to navigate it and do whatever they're going to do without any consequences.
For sure.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
100%.
There's a gang of times, even man. Even on this side, you know, when I was in Tehachapi, and there was a big thing that came up where they were like, oh well, we have to jump everybody, and I was one of the biggest advocates. I told these guys, like, what do you mean we got to jump everybody? If this dude runs his freaking mouth to somebody else, even if he's from an opposite gang, then let his nuts hang.
Yep.
Like that's what it is. I said we're not here to fight his battles. We're here. There's an organization, and there's things that we have to do together, but that's just standard. I had to grow up fighting in the freaking hood since I was a kid, and this, you know, and that's just what it is. And these dudes right here, they're running around, and they got all these doctors on their face, and you know, they got this little attitude problem. Hey, they run their mouth to somebody. It's what it is, you know. But I would respect it more. If, like, the dude ran up, you know, to somebody, handled his business, and he was practicing what he preached. You know, then I would be more inclined to be like, all right, well, that's the homie right there. You know what I'm saying? And I would jump for him a lot quicker than I would for somebody that's afraid to fight, looking for excuses and be like, oh, you know, don't let him do this to me. Don't let him stop me out. Like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
What are you
got to worry about that after the fact.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
you know?
if you already let those fear factors seep into your mind and your heart, then then you're not built for this.
Yep, that's just what it is. Because, you know, it's just crazy. Things have changed, and I think the mentality that, like, Jesse and I have, that mentality in here, I don't know what it is now. You know, it's just different. you see a lot of these guys that are here, and they're running around, and they got that tough guy, look on their face, and they got a little attitude. And I think about it like, damn, like if you were really about that, then you would appreciate where you're at. Yeah. Because nobody that's been through things like that wants to be in places like that, unless you're in that environment. In that, when I was involved with those things, that was my home. Yeah. I wanted to be where the shit was at. I was in the C status. I was on the C status unit of the gang buildings on the 180. That's where all the fuck ups were. That's where all the troublemakers were. And guess what? I was one of them.
And when you're there, you're on full time.
You're on full time. Like there's no breaks. Yeah. Like every little thing is what it is. Like it's that's your lifestyle.
There is no time. There is no room or no margin of error. No question. It's like you got to be full blast, full gas, because at the end of the day, somebody else is. And if you slip, you slip. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Dave said, I tell people that all the time here that come here, like, all this place is whoop-de-whoop, this and that. And it's like, come on, fool. Like, you're talking like that because you've never been there. Because when you come from that kind of environment to this, it's truly a weight off your shoulders, because it's like, okay, like I can let my hair down a little bit right here. I don't have to be on full time. I don't have to worry about it because the predators are limited here. Things like that, and that's just the reality. And a lot of guys on the line too. Like, because a lot of things with gangs is it's a pack mentality. Truth be told, like unless you grew up in a neighborhood that was constantly fighting and like in a time, and now it's not even so much like that. There isn't a lot of people constantly like. Fighting isn't what it used to be. Everybody got weapons nowadays, you know what I mean? And so it's a different thing. But like a lot of these guys, they're out there, they join a gang for protection, or something to belong to, and they never truly...
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
They never learn to stand on their own two.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
They were only around their homies, so they never really had to fight. Like in my barrio, truth be told, like every night somebody was fighting, like amongst the homies, and it was all love the next day, but somebody was fighting and somebody was getting jumped. So you learn how to take an ass whooping. When you stop being afraid of an ass whooping, getting into a fight is not a problem. Like when you're like, I'm not worried about this dude, I'm already thinking about how I'm going to inflict pain.
Hey, it's gonna cut off right now, James.
All right, and I got a question for you guys when you guys come back, from myself and also from Gordita Anita over here on YouTube.
All right.
So hey, thank you, Gordita, for the hey, and that's her name, So if anybody feels offended because they're Gordita, hey, that's her name, that's her handle, so that's what I'm calling her. All right, this is Gordita Anita. Anyhow, if you guys got any question for these guys, feel free to drop them in the comments, and I'll go ahead and read them off, in the order they are received. These calls are live. Once again, this is Centinela State Prison. We're on the line with Jesse and David, and there it is. Phone is ringing.
This call is now being recorded.
Global Link. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5.
5.
Gracias por utilizar Global Link.
Hello.
Hey, I thought that was your prison wife handle, James. Gordita Anita 69.
Mainline.
Hey, for the viewers that don't know, right?
It would have been
Mainline life. Yeah, for the viewers that don't know what we're talking about, right? So James is our eyes and ears out there in the world, right? So the best information comes from the prison wives support groups. And so we have James.
That's unreliable information.
Well, yeah, but it's still, it's unreliable, but it's still gossip, So we have James. James is undercover as, I thought it was Gordita Anita 69 112. We love the mainline.
Mainline only.
Mainline only. Sorry, we love the mainline.
Hey, so hey, I want to ask you guys something. So, obviously,
Chafa.
You guys have been, you guys
Go
have
ahead,
been,
go ahead.
throughout the system in California. You guys been in the main line. You guys are on the SNY side now. Of all the prisons that you've been to, how does the current yard compare to all the other places you've been to as far as how good you guys have it? Because I hear people, sometimes people
This
complain,
is like the best.
they get there and they're like, man, this place is too soft. And I'm like, shit, hold on. What do you mean it's too soft? If I was SNY, that's where I would want to be. Why would I want to be in a level 4 180 with a bunch of shenanigans going on? So what's your take on that?
The only people who say that are the drug addicts.
Yeah.
The drug addicts and the criminals. That's just what it is. Everybody, a lot of people in here, we're all in here for committing a crime. We've been found guilty of committing a crime. But the fact of the matter is, right, a prison, whether a prison is soft, translates to them. Okay, when they say it's a soft yard, it's not violent enough. Like, fools ain't hearing with the business or whatnot. But realistically, this.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
They're saying there ain't no drugs and no phones here, basically. So they want to get to a prison where there's drugs and phones. That's just what it is.
Yeah, because as far as talking soft, they wouldn't be talking like that if they've been on a hard yard.
No, yeah.
Like about this yard, you know what I mean? Because the dudes that have been on hard yards that are about that life, they all right away notice, or they get out of here. They leave when they don't talk about it. They leave because this place isn't for them because they are built like that.
But they wouldn't be put up for a yard like this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. You're not coming to Centinela Level 3 non-designated program facility if you're about anything. Right. You're not doing it. Like Jess and I, look, we've been there, done that, and it's not like the way that we live. We're not trying to be about nothing. That's the thing. I'm trying to be about my family. I'm trying to be about my education. I'm trying to be about healthy relationships, and that's the only things that I'm about. I'm with the business in that regard.
Yeah.
I'm with the crazy business in that regard. When it comes to education, James, I turn the fuck up. I'm wilding out when it comes to college. I'm gonna tell you right now. You know what I mean? I got 2 pens, one in each hand. You know what I mean? I'm writing shit. You know what I mean?
Pencil whipping the books.
Yep. But yep, I'm making spreadsheets. Accountable. I'm reading major material. But that's just what it is. But
yeah, and Dave's 100% right when he says that the people that say that are used to drug addicts. The people that come here and they're like, oh man, this yard's weird. It's weird because they can't run around the yard all day looking for drugs because it's not that prominent on this yard, because there's a lot more people here trying to get out of prison or just trying to stay out of the way. Even the ones that aren't trying to get out of prison, they're just doing their time. They're not trying to make it shake. So, so they get here and it's like, oh, they come from yards where there's, an abundance of drugs and abundance of phones. And it's like, oh man, I can't even get high here. I can't even, like, oh, this yard's soft. What do you mean soft? Because you can't get high. What does getting high have to do with being soft? So it's that's usually what it is, honestly. As far as the program, like it's there's a lot of, which is crazy. That's the irony, and that is a lot of those prisons that are a lot crazier than this have a lot more programs than this.
Hey, but they're even drier though for drugs because there's no movement. There'll be some shit going on, but you go to a place where it's like super turned up, like dudes are on lockdown. Dudes are on lockdown all the time. Like you stay, we would come out because they changed it where you come out every 14 days from an incident. So we would get into a major incident, 14 days. Guess what we're doing? We're in another major incident. Then they'll start doing the little. They start doing like where they'll let like small groups of people out at a time, randomly. So they'll let 3 here, 3 there, and then those little groups go at it, and then you're down another 14 days. And then there's like a few dudes that are actually like that are getting shit popping, but you can't have nothing nice if you're involved with all that. You can't have, like, what's the point of spending 2 racks on a freaking phone when you're going to be in a hole in a month anyway? What's the point?
Hey, you know what?
No time to set nothing up.
Right now that you mentioned phone, I'm not sure if you guys, I know like I think the last call that we had or the previous call before that one, we had spoken about the Menendez brothers, and they recently got popped. I think Lau recently got popped with a phone maybe like 2 weeks ago.
And the thing is, we haven't seen nothing like that on TV. So Jesse and I were asking about that, right? And I want to know, where did you hear this from? We have a gang of questions about that.
So that one, I heard it from another person that does content. That prison guard, he
Uh-huh.
I think they got popped on Saturday, and I think he announced it. I want to say maybe like by Monday, maybe even Sunday.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude,
And he
he'll
would
know.
know because he was a freaking lieutenant in that prison.
He probably got like
And he-
connections, or they'll call in like, hey, we just got this deal with this and that. But they're failing to leave that out on any of the freaking documentaries and the big old push. Look, if you use cell phones in prison,
Yeah.
you're not on a recovery path. I don't give a fuck who you are, what you're doing. You're not on a recovery path because cell phones, to use a cell phone in prison, it got a lot of criminal shit behind it. Jesse and I, we both had those fucking things. We both get involved with that whole little game in different places and stuff like that. Jess here. And the fact of the matter is nobody in recovery uses cell phones. Period.
There's no
100%.
justification for victimizing people.
Yep,
through the phone.
there's not. And the fact that we're talking about, look, just getting one, right? You gotta pay thousands of dollars, and not only you, it's like your families, right? So you gotta have your family come up with the money for those things up front. Usually, it's a whole
Victimizing
thing.
them.
Yeah, you're victimizing them because you're freaking asking for thousands of dollars to get a phone, And I used to get mine; those things for like $1,500, and then I used to just to sustain those things. I would have to sling dope and stuff like that just to make sure that I could try to get some money back and try to see who's got this and that, because they come and they take those things, and then not only when you get one of those, where the hell are you going to hide it at? Do you know the engineering and criminal freaking thought process that goes behind successfully hiding a phone? Like literally, like that's not something that you just keep on the locker. You have to you got to devise some crazy ass freaking place, some hiding spots, dude. That's a whole thought process right there. Not only that, then you got to do the phone calls. Like, who's paying your phone bill? How are you going to pay your phone bill on the money that you're making in here from stores? So you're continuing to burden your family and victimize your family with paying that damn phone card every month.
Not only that, you're re-victimizing your initial victim. When I had a phone, all those years, I've had a phone for years and years and years in here.
Yeah.
I've almost never been without a phone in prison. And so until I got in recovery. And all those years, I was continuing to victimize my victim, his families, because I was escaping taking responsibility. If I'm not doing my prison time like the way it was intended for me to, be in here, and because phones are an escape from this place. It takes you out of here. It's such an immediate gratification. It's like a drug almost, And so by me using a phone every day, I'm not in prison. I'm not doing time. I'm out there connecting with all the people. I'm out there talking to girls. I'm talking to the family. I'm talking to this. I'm talking to that. Like all these things. It's not just me. This is everybody that's ever owned a phone.
Yep.
And not only that, so I'm escaping taking responsibility. So I'm continuing to victimize the family members of the loved one. For the person that I murdered. I'm victimizing him again. I'm dishonoring his name because I'm here supposed to be paying a price and learning something and taking responsibility for the heinous act that I committed, and so you're doing that. You're putting the institution. I was putting the institution in safety, jeopardizing safety and security. Not only that, as long as I had a phone, I was using the phone to conduct criminal activity, to conduct my enterprise, to continue to introduce, to negate security here, to continue to bring drugs in, to order hits. I was having people hurt. I was controlling gangs on the streets. I was controlling other yards, from prison with the cell phone. So it's like everything that survives. And there's guys, I got my phone just to talk to my family, and that may be the case, right? But the reality of it is, if that's simply the case, then use your tablet.
Yeah, but we got tablets.
Yeah, use your tablet.
Yeah, we got tablets, and look, these aren't the best. We go through issues like Jesse and I, like no one's ever heard us. Well, there's people that do podcasts and they use cell phones and stuff like that, and they run podcasts and shit. But you're never going to hear that from me and Jesse. If we can't get through on our tablet and what CDC allows us to do, then guess what? You ain't going to hear from us.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll write in letters.
Yeah.
We'll write letters. We'll do the pen pal thing. We'll write to James and be like, look, these guys. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Dave relapsed because he just sent me a 20-page letter about nonsense, right?
A smart letter.
Yeah, smart letter.
20-page smart letter.
And then on the back of it, Jesse went for 21 pages. I don't know how he did that. There's only 20 pieces of paper, but
I wrote in the corner.
Yeah,
I used the top.
Yeah. So
yeah, and doing that in here also too, we're jeopardizing the staff, because when we're using the phones for criminal activity in here, we're making this a dangerous and hostile work environment because through bringing drugs in, through gang activity, we're making prison a dangerous place. So these staff members are coming into a hostile and dangerous work environment because of phones. Like, phones is a big thing, you know, and a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, I can't understand. Well, what about the officer or the staff member because the reality is every last phone that comes into prison is coming from a staff member.
Yeah,
that's just the truth about it.
I would say 99.9. There's always the one that makes it by somehow, some crazy ingenious scheme. But there's 99.9.
Yeah, definitely 99% of the phones come from staff. But let's think about it also, like we're also victimizing that staff member's family. Yeah, the staff member who made the decision to do a stupid move like bringing in a phone, that's on him. That's 100% on him. But we're complicit in victimizing his family because what about when he loses his job? You know, and now his kids or his wife or his family, who, you know, now they're suffering financially because of the phone. Like the ramifications and the impact of cell phones in prison is so far-reaching that people can't truly understand that. And I couldn't understand it for years and years. To me, it was like, man, I'm the one doing this time. I'm just trying to watch a movie. I'm just trying to talk on the phone. I'm just trying to, you know, escape my reality. I didn't even realize how detrimental it was to the prison system. And like I said, I wasn't the one just buying phones. I'm the one that always brought the phones in. I'm the one that was selling the phones. You know what I mean? So I was definitely complicit in the problem. You know.
Hey, which one is Lyle? The old one or the younger one?
I think
I couldn't even tell you.
I want to say the younger one is the Lyle. I think Eric is the older one.
Did he get written up though?
Yeah, he got written up.
He was reading like the whole the 115 word for word, you know, what was being what was on there. But he had also mentioned too that that previously in the past their 115s have magically disappeared off of their system, whatever system, you know, they're entered into. They come up missing.
Yeah.
Somebody will delete them and it's like it never happened.
It's possible. It just depends if they beat their 115s on 602s and stuff like that. You know, they would have to take it out of it, remove it from the system. But that's the crazy part, right? So if you get cracked with a phone, that's a 5-year hit.
Yeah.
You're like, if he's going to board, let's say that they were to give him a reprieve, right? If they were to give him a reprieve and turn it over where they're still lifers, they get that life sentence, but they still go to board because they're going to be youth offenders. You know, well, that's what they are. They're youth offenders. They'll get to go to board immediately, and they could be released immediately from the board. Well, it'd be about 6 months because they have a body. So 6 months after they go to board, they could have been walking out of prison. That phone, he's going to get a 5-year hit when he goes to board.
Yep,
100%.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
But that would be if
they'll let the older.
That would be if the CDCR conducts their board hearing.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Without giving them like special treatment, right?
I just don't think the governor would sign off on that, and I don't think that the BPH commissioners, you're not going to sway those dudes.
Yeah.
Those dudes right there, honestly, like they can give them all the special treatment they want, but if that's on in front of them when they go to board, they're gonna ding them. Yeah, hey, they don't give a shit who you are.
But and this is hypothetical. What if the governor, you know, somehow reaches out to them and then he tells them that he wants them to make like a special exception?
Yeah, let me call you back.
Okay, all right.
Because I like that question.
All right, cool. Gracias. All right. So they're going to be calling back in the next moment or two. Once they do, we'll go ahead and continue. And for those of you that are just stepping in right now, this is going to be David and Jesse. They're currently located in Centinela State Prison, DR level 3. And is it a 180? I don't know. No, I've never been to prison, so I couldn't tell you. Anyhow, let me see. Lovely Gigi. Hey, what's up? How's it going? It says he and his brother Eric both got written up. Both of them. Oh, okay. I thought it was only one of them. All right. So the phone is ringing, and let me patch it through.
This call is now being recorded.
Esta es Global Tel-Link. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5.
5.
Gracias por utilizar Global Tel-Link.
Hello, hello.
James. Hey,
Yep.
badass question. Now, let me tell you this. What Jesse said, too, in the break, right? He's like, there ain't enough governor in the world that would do something like that. No, this is the thing. The governor has the power to let them out of prison.
If he was that much in favor of them, he just cut them loose on the commutation.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Because they filed clemency with him. If the governor was in on it, he would have already granted them clemency.
Yeah, and if he was to, like, behind the scenes, right, working on stuff with the commissioners,
Yeah.
I think that would be a problem. That would be problematic. And the commissioners that are out there right now, I just
take their job serious.
I just don't see how that would how they would let that happen.
It's I think it's just two different entities. You know, the governor is in his lane, and they're in their lane. You know, like one thing I can honestly say, like even as subjective as the board process is, you know, there's so much gray area that this commissioner doesn't like this, that one doesn't like that. One thing I can say though is they all do their job. You know what I mean? And the ones, it's evolving completely. And the ones who are of the old regime are either getting pushed out and they're training them in the way that they want them to see things now, which is basically to allow us the opportunity to come home if we've done the work. You know, before it didn't matter what you did, you weren't getting out of prison, period. And the commissioners were the gatekeepers, and they're like, hey, well, okay, well, that's cool. By law, I have to give you this hearing, but by morale, you ain't shit. You're not going home.
If you put in the work, right, the commissioners, I've even seen them kind of lenient on relapses. As long as you own up to them and you have a system in place, a plan in place, and you have a little bit of clean time, at least a couple years, you know. Yeah. But I've never seen them overlook a phone, and I've never seen them overlook a fight. No, you know, I just haven't. And they ding people for little things here and there where you're just kind of like, oh, well, you know, that could have gone either way. But, I just see that as problematic. He's an idiot. And well, Jesse and I, we were talking about this because we wanted to see if that was out there. I've been looking at the news apps. I've been watching some of the coverage because I'm like, well, where the hell did James get this information from? Because it's not out there.
Yeah.
They're not putting this out there.
No, they're not.
You know, and so we talked about that, and we're like, well, look, if this is what happened, right, what kind of freaking imbecile, I use imbecile, I like to say imbecile, but I know it's probably imbecile. I just love that word now. But what kind of imbecile with all these things going on and would have a damn cell phone in his cell? I mean, these guys could be home.
Yeah, that just goes to show how unrehabilitated they are.
Yeah.
That he doesn't even have enough impulse control and enough sense to realize that he has 1 foot out the door right now, and yet he still possesses a cell phone. And that's a big thing that people have to understand when they do self-help geared towards cell phones, because a lot of people think it's a victimless thing. They truly don't understand that having a cell phone is an impulse control issue. It's all about immediate gratification. You're not thinking about anything past the moment of that phone being in your hand.
I got 7 years until board as things stand right now. And one of those things, I look at it like a cancer, man, like the plague. I look at one of those things like that right there is me not going home. If I was to see one of those or someone was to offer it to me, I would literally think about beating them up.
I remember when Dave first...
Hey, both of them will cause you not to go home.
I could get not necessarily. Hey, well, yeah, they both will, but I'd be like, well, beating them up, I'll get a 3-year hit. This one, taking the phone is a 5, so I got 3 to spare.
I remember when Dave first got here too. I had asked him when he got here. I told him, hey, fool, I'm going to move you over here. Check it out, because I know what it's like coming from the level 4, and I know what recovery looks like and change looks like to people coming from those yards. It's different because as long as they're not hurting people, they think that they've changed, and they have changed their behavior, but they have not changed their character.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Because it's hard to change in those kind of environments, because it's a little more your survival instinct supersedes transformation a lot of the times, And so I wrote him a kite and was like, hey, fool, I want to bring you over here. I've been hearing that you're doing good over there and this and that, but what's up? This is what it is.
I wouldn't lie to him.
Yeah, I can't tell you how to do your time, but I can tell you what it's going to be like in here. There ain't going to be none of that. And he wrote me back. He's like, man, I don't do none of the big 5.
The big 5. I tell everybody about the big 5. We'll get into the other ones later. But do you know what the big five are, James? Have I told you about them? I talked about the big five before.
Gambling, punks.
What the fuck? That's like not even top 15. Punks. That's like you're in the positives now.
Gambling and punks is the only thing I do.
We're talking about the bad five, not the good five.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're close to dark five. The dark five, James. And I want everybody to know this, man. Anybody that has loved ones in prison, and they're telling you they're doing good, you ask them, are you doing any of the big five, the negative big five?
Not James's big five.
Not James's big five.
Big five sporting goods.
Money, blunt, gambling, punks, and Diddy oil.
There's no bueno. Hey, that Diddy oil is no good.
What do you call it? What's the freaking not contaminated? What is it? What is
It's
it? When you
laced.
cut it with something?
It's laced.
Laced,
Yeah.
laced Diddy oil. Yeah, don't be selling no laced Diddy oil out there, man. You know, the viewers will let us know. We'll be like, hey, man, your boy James, he's all bad, man. He's on some Diddy shit now.
All
Like,
bad.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We get it. All right, so no.
Thought he looked a little shiny when I
You ask him, are you doing any of the negative big five? Let me tell you right now. If you're doing any of the negative big five, you're not going home. If bored freaking, you can't even begin to start trying to go home if you're involved with the big five. Let me tell you this. Cell phones. Cell phones are one of the big five. No phones, no bueno. Using drugs, no bueno. Selling drugs, no bueno. Gang activity, no bueno.
No disrespecting.
No disrespecting staff. That's the fifth one right there. Yeah, period. You do any of those things right there, you're not even, you can't even say that you're beginning a recovery. And I'm going to tell you right now, the staff thing, that's probably where you should start. Well, you don't want to do those other things either. But at the end of the day, if you can't look, and me, I have a distrust of a lot of these guys that work in here. I just do. And I've been working on it. I have an extreme distrust of the system. I've been in the system for a long time. But I know that I have to treat these people that work in this facility, I have to treat them with dignity and I have to treat them with respect. I may not agree with the things that I see some of them doing, but that's not for me to judge. For me to do is mind my own business and don't make this a dangerous work environment for them, and don't make this a dangerous place to live for those around me. And so that starts with there, because if you can't start looking past that green uniform or the fact that they're working in custody, if you're so focused on that and your hatred and your distrust, you're not going to be able to concentrate on anything else. And you're definitely not going to be able to deal with situations out there in society with people that you come in contact with. You're not going to be able to do it.
Hey,
And
David,
so
and let me
that's a big
ask
one
you
right
guys.
there. Yeah.
Is this list here?
Yep.
Is that something that you guys came up with, or is this something that everybody that's mentioned when you guys go to these groups?
No, I patent that shit. So, like, what if I would, like, make sure that no one, put a copyright on that, do what you got to do. That's my patented big five. That's for me. Now, look, recovery has to be what each individual needs it to be for them. Me, I work as a guide in a lot of senses, right? I'm a mentor for a lot of people. I'm a facilitator in certain programs. So all I can do is show people what's worked for me up to this point. Now, does that mean that I'm going to break other rules and stuff like that? No, that doesn't mean that, okay, well, you're doing the big five. You're not doing any of those, so you're free to go and do whatever the hell else you think.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
You're free to go out there and do whatever the hell else is not on the list. It don't work like that. Live your life in good, orderly direction, but don't complicate it. Don't overcomplicate it. Find the things that are the biggest in your life. Me, I was a career drug dealer. I was a career criminal. I was a career gang member. So guess what? I had to design my recovery around those things, because a lot of times there's not people that understand. Well, there wasn't when I started. There wasn't people who understand what it takes to fix me and the things that were going on with me and what my dynamics were. So I had to look inward, and I had to do some self-reflection. So when I explained it to Jesse, he was like, "Oh yeah, okay, it works."
Come on down.
Yeah, he understands, you know. He understands it, but see, Jesse, though, he understands where I'm coming from, though, because he knows me. So the fact of the matter is, when he's saying that, he's saying that because he knows how the fuck I was, just like I knew how he was. If there's anything, if there's any kink in the armor, we're completely on the opposite end of it. You know, if there's stuff going on, like there's no just using a little bit. I'm not gonna do that little niña, you know, and freaking sneeze a couple times and go about my business. Hell no.
Going ham.
I'm going ham. I would look like a Somali pirate by the time I was done with that run.
James, you said you had a question from Gordita Anita?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that is correct. So the question from Gordita Anita was, how does experiencing lockdown in prison influence an inmate's journey towards redemption?
For incarcerated individuals, Gordita Anita.
Incarcerated individuals. No, I think really, as far, I don't think it helps in any way, shape, or form, other than the fact that it's just a reminder of why we need to get out of here. It's just a reminder of how things could be. Because there was a time when this was normal program. It wasn't called lockdown because this was normal program in prison. You know, going out to the yard was not normal. You know, getting day room was not normal. Being locked behind this door was, like, for years, that was the only way I knew how to do time. Like, when I first got here, having all this movement, it didn't work with me. Like, I couldn't function that way. I was a hermit. You know, I preferred to be in my cell constantly because this is where I functioned best. This is where I was most productive at, was behind the door. And so now that's not the case. Now that I'm constantly on the move, I'm constantly being productive and pro-social with every moment of my day. When they do lock me behind the door, I welcome it as a break, but it's also a reminder that, like, okay, you know, this is why I have to get out of prison, because I want to take breaks when I want to take breaks, not when they tell me it's time to take a break. You know, or so, and it's a reminder when you get out to society, like, okay, do you want to be that person locked behind a door, locked in a cage, locked behind a cell? You know, and so I don't think it, you know, other than giving us maybe the opportunity to get some schoolwork done, get some things done, you know, like to go to Chicago and eat deep dish pizza, you know, to hibernate. You know, there's things that you could do when you're in the locked behind the door. But yeah, as far as how it contributes to our you know, redemption and reintegration into society, I can't think of very many.
The total opposite.
Yeah.
This is the complete opposite. Like, you should see what Jesse looks like right now. Just since this conversation started, he's already wearing, all his clothes are made out of sheets.
I'm having a toga party.
Yeah, he's having a toga party.
Yeah.
He's walking over there like Zeus.
Myself in this locked. Yeah, like Zeus, exactly.
Hey, no, well, okay, so a little backstory on that, right? In ATSEG, you get your white jumpsuit. So a lot of the guys that spend a lot of times in ATSEG have to make their own, like, little clothes and little setup and stuff like that. So ATSEG's usually freezing. So usually what a lot of people would do in the past, like if you're in like an ATSEG that don't really got shit, you know, is your socks, they'll become your long sleeves.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
So a lot of times you got to cut the bottom of your socks off, and there's no blade usually, so you got to, like, chew the bottom of your socks off, or grind it on a corner somewhere, and then you open it, and then you put those on over your arms, and those are your long sleeves. So,
and you make some shorts.
Yep, you got to make some. Yeah, you have to make some shorts out of sheet, and yeah, it's a crazy little process, but it's gonna hang up right now, James. I'll call you back right now.
All right, cool. We'll be here. We'll be waiting. All right. ¿Le quieres decir algo a la gente que ando escuchando, mamá?
Sí.
¿Qué le quieres decir? Tienes que hablar aquí.
Hola.
Hola. All right, this is my daughter. She's 6 years old. She turned 6 last month, and she knows she's not supposed to come in here when I got my little red light on and the door, but obviously she disregards she disregards, and she's in here. So whenever she comes in here, I have her put on her little mask so you guys don't know her real identity, and she'll come and hang out with me for a little bit. All right, and here they go. Hey, Chubby Jessica, how's it going? Gracias.
This call is now being recorded.
Este es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was funny because I was thinking right now during the break, I was like, I don't know if you understand, right, what it takes to actually like make a sewing needle in here.
Hey,
'Cause we
David.
make 'em.
David, I'm gonna step away, but I'm gonna be
Yeah.
hearing you on the phone. I'll be back like in a few minutes, all right? But I can hear what you're saying.
All right. So,
After these messages.
so to the viewers, right? Jess and I are just talking to you. James is out of the equation. If you got anything to say about that, Raffles, say it now or forever hold your peace. No, so what we do, right, when we get to the hole is, like I said, you got this white jumpsuit. The white jumpsuit is crazy looking. It's got all these little strings hanging off the front of it, so you can tie like your the opening. You can tie it together like with where the shirt part's at. So they're like little bows, right? It looks ridiculous. It looks like you got like cow titties hanging off you. You got a bunch of like little strings hanging on down your chest, And so what you do is, a lot of times we'll grind the whole top of the jumpsuit off just to make pants out of it. So that's the first thing I used to do. I say go in there, get the jumpsuit, find a good place on the wall because there's always like a little ridge where the concrete was poured, and I'll find a little ridge and I'll just use that to saw through the jumpsuit. And that shit'll take me a little while. There's no lockers in AdSigs, like the lockers where you put your stuff on. They don't have those. There's usually no desk, no lockers. So you gotta like look around the cell, like where the bunk's at or the corners of the walls to make the little, to saw with. And then you gotta have a blade. So when you're in the hole, you gotta have a blade. But you can't just get blades because they come and give you the razor and to shave with, and you have to give it back. And they look at the razor, so you have to kind of like make a Hail Mary. You gotta throw a Hail Mary out there. So what people do usually is we bust open the blade, and you got to do it very carefully so you can't tell. So you got to use your teeth to bust open the blade, the razor, and then we save a chip bag because it has the inside of the chip bag. It's got like aluminum. It's got like a little aluminum face in the inside. So what we do is we cut a little strip of that real perfectly. Remember, we don't cut it with a blade. We have to tear it perfectly, and then we put it on the inside of the razor and close it back in there so it kind of looks like there's a little bit of a metal piece. And be surprised how many times that we actually turn that back in and they don't notice. So remember, this is old David. This isn't new David. New David has a Mach 3 that I just bought from the from the package. But this is old AdSig wearing sheets David. So once I get that blade, now I have to come up with a paper clip. The paper clip is tricky. The paper clip is when I put all kinds of medical forms in. I put medical forms and I put anything where they can pull me out and I can actually walk out to like go to the doctors or whatever, and I'm looking for a paper clip. And be surprised how many times I found a paper clip. So once I get the paper clip, I break off like a little sewing needle size part of the paper clip, and then I have to go to the yard. And what I'm looking for in the yard is a little tiny pebble, because you're not going to find rocks on the concrete yards. So I'm looking for something that I can like a little pebble or like a little rock or something like that. And then once I find that on the yard, I bring it back and I flatten the top of the paper clip. I flatten the top of the paper clip to where it's got like a little flat surface on it. And then literally I get the blade and I scrape. I scrape in a straight line. And I'll do that literally until I get to the other side of the paper clip. That's how bored we are. And once I have that, it's out and cracking. I'll get my sew on. Oh yeah, well you got to sit there and you got to sharpen the little the paper clip. And once I do that, I'll turn that jumpsuit into some cargo pants. I'll make like a I'll make some big old shorts. I make some big old shorts out of one of the sheet because you pretty much live in your boxers anyway in the hole. Yep, that's what we do. Make like a little beanie cap at a part of the jumpsuit, so when you walk by, it'll look like I'm wearing like a little canoe on the top of my head.
Cut the sleeve off your shirt.
Yep. Oh, for your hairnet,
Yep.
for your do-rag.
Yep.
Yep. And it's crazy to, like, that's what lockdown generally looks like to Jesse and I. Like, when you think of lockdown, when you think of, like, AdSig or the shoe, like, that's what it looks like to us. Whatever they're doing over here on this other yard and whatever reason why they want to keep us in the cell right now, that, like, honestly, it's actually, like, a good thing for us because we're just getting caught up on a gang of homework. No complaints. We're probably, if they keep us locked down next week, it's a high probability that we might not go to store. We might miss store. And Jesse and I kind of plan for stuff like that.
We're going to starve to death in here.
I'm going to be freaking,
That's that Somali pirate he was talking about.
I'm going to put some peanut butter on a piece of bread and put it out the bottom of the cell, see if I can get Felipe close to the door.
So we have Chihuahua tacos.
So I can put an apple in his mouth and roast him on a spit.
Straight Book of Eli shit around here. Hunger Games. It's bad.
Hey, he'll be like, hey, Dave, why you want me to put an apple in my mouth? Just go with it.
Yeah, just go with it. I promise you won't mind. You won't even know.
Yeah, see, this is the kind of shit, James. You can't leave Jesse and I just to our own devices.
Then we're going to feel compelled to talk about the Chihuahua.
All
hey,
right.
when James comes back, hey, you're there. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard any of that stuff, but
I heard all of it.
you're gonna have to delete half that.
No, I heard about.
Is on a spit right now.
How you, man? Hey, you know what? Well, I was thinking right now when I was hearing you making your sewing needle, man. I'm gonna need some custom CDCR cargo pants. You know, so I can have the latest fashion from within prison.
The problem is that right after the big five, there's another big five, right? Well, not a big five. There's like a little five, and destroying CDCR property is like probably number 8 on that list. It's not number 6, but it's definitely a number 8.
That's right.
Number 9.
So
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
destroying CDCR property, is that a 115 or is that a lower one?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's a 115. You get written up for that. Hell yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do they always write you up for that? No, but they, it's definitely not something that you want to be doing if you're on a good path. You want to kind of steer away from stuff like that. I honestly think that if we were to send out a pair of cargo pants to you, CDC Army cargo pants, they'd probably charge us with theft.
You're going to have the ATF kicking in your door?
Yeah. Be like, look, these pants right here, these disgusting, despicable-looking pants that we give you guys are valuable to us. Yeah. All right.
Hey,
This is where we draw the line.
So another thing that how you were talking about being on lockdown. Obviously, this is different than other lockdowns that you experienced because in the past, you guys didn't have tablets, you guys didn't have movies, you guys didn't have a phone, you guys didn't have a messaging app. So I'm sure that makes it a little bit easier because you guys are still able to communicate, with your people, your loved ones, and whatnot. How's having your tablets affect you guys?
It's a game changer.
Super game changer.
Yeah.
Completely.
I'm sure.
I'm sitting here with my laptop on my stomach doing a SWOT analysis, a strategic analysis for one of my business classes, talking on the tablet, staring at the TV. It's a game changer because you don't even, we're not even worried about what's going on out there because the reality of it is it's all right. The only thing you really needed to be out of the cell for is for the phone. That's the one thing you missing that you can't make up for. You can exercise in the cell.
You can bird bath.
You can bird bath in the cell. We got food. so we can do our school. We have access to Canvas right here through to the professors right here on my laptop, on Dave's laptop.
Even to the education department, we could send them. We have like a link for a discussion link that we can send them. Yep. So realistically, this came at the best time because finals are coming up. I take a final next week for my biological anthropology class. I take a final on the 21st, so they might have to delay that if we don't come off next week. But realistically, we have finals, and I have 5 classes that I need to submit final work for. So Jesse's doing his SWOT analysis, and that's a part of one of his college classes for business. And it's a lot, It's things that I said this is perfect. I downloaded the movie app on my tablet. It costs $1.97. I downloaded it, so I got movies to watch. Yeah, it's different. I actually slept in a little this morning. Got up at 6:40 for me is sleeping in. I got up at that time for breakfast. Yeah, it was all right.
I planned on sleeping in today. I slept. I woke up at 3:30 and went back to sleep around 6 and woke up at 7 because they announced chow, and I was like, damn, if I could have only stayed asleep till about 8, I would have been in heaven.
Tomorrow I'll probably work out with Felipe. Try to talk him into working out with me. Do some burpees or something.
Hey, and speaking of Felipe, where's Felipe, man? He hasn't made no appearances on the van. Is he all right, man?
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I hear him on the phone over there.
Okay.
Let me see if I can. Felipe! Is that too loud?
Nah, that was perfect.
He's on the phone.
Yeah.
He's probably talking to his old lady, to Des, because Des is back in the hospital again, not doing too well. So.
Yep.
Damn, that's rough.
Keep her in our prayers, everybody.
Yeah, he's on the phone over there.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, but if I hear him get a break in the call, I'll yell over to him. But did you ever get the GoFundMe that we sent you?
I did, and I posted it up on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool because she's in Loma Linda right now. She's back in the hospital. She did like a crazy round of chemotherapy, and honestly, it put her out. They flatlined her somehow, and they brought her back. That's what Felipe said. She flatlined. They rushed her to the emergency room. So she's there right now. But yeah, it's not looking good for Des,
Yeah.
And, life has a crazy way of coming at us, But we just got to make sure that she knows she's in our prayers and stuff, and she's in good spirits, But that chemo's fucking her up, man.
Yeah, it's rough. Yeah, I got a buddy that's currently going through chemo, and man, I think he's already gone through his 5th one, and he said, yeah, it drains you, after getting it, you're there all day, going through the whole process, and then you gotta go home, and you're just drained. You don't have any energy, and you could see it. I see it in his face when I see him. It's he's losing weight, and it's rough.
Yeah, that shit sucks, man. What about EJ? Did you ever have an opportunity to send him some taffy?
Nah, so I'll send it out. I'll send it out Monday. Because I just got back from vacation, and I haven't had any time because I just got back. But I'll make sure I get that in the mail this week coming up.
Hey, how about that store you took me into with the dick on a stick? Oh my god. Hey, I was dying, man.
Hey, did anybody see it? Was anybody in the day room when I walked into that spot?
A couple people saw it, yeah, and they were laughing, right? But it wasn't like people like my boys, it was a couple dudes passing by and they were laughing, right?
Yeah.
And there's no way that I can really actually I'm pretty descriptive, so let me let the viewers know because I don't know when you're gonna post that video or not.
This week, I'll post it up this week.
James is walking around Puerto Rico. He's walking around Puerto Rico, and as always, I'm having him look at walls, for the tagging. I want him to find a Coachella on the wall. I'm looking for this and that, And I try to get him to go into a very dangerous slum, but he drew the line there, so, whatever, James. But he takes me by,
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
He takes me by the storefront, and you know what? I'm gonna leave you guys in suspense. I'm gonna give you guys a call back.
All right. We'll be waiting. All right, yeah. So normally, I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with with any of the videos I put up, the video visits or whatnot. So normally, when I go on vacation or whenever I go anywhere that I want to share with them, I'll record it and I'll put it up. And I think I did. I want to say about maybe at least like 15 video visits when I was out in Puerto Rico. We did some in different parts of the island. We did Old San Juan. We did. Oh, there it is. He's calling right back. So I'm going to patch it on through.
This call is now being
Esta es
recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5.
5.
Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
Yeah. All right, James. Yeah. So, James is walking me around. We see this storefront window, and it's got a doorway. And James is like, "Hey, look at that!" So I look over, and I swear, it is like a giant drawing of a door-sized scrotum, man part, right? This thing is monstrous, right? And it's got a set of man. Because I'm on TikTok, so I'm afraid we're going to get kicked off right now. So it's got the bottom parts of it, the two of those, and it has like legs, like it's a little cartoon drawing of like a, one of those. It's big as fuck, right? Huge. So I'm like, damn, what the hell? And then on the other side of the doorway, there's a lady part, and she's situated like a taco or something. She's right there. She got the legs right there, and it's just, I'm like, damn. So of course I tell James we got to go in that store. And I'm actually just kidding, but James is already halfway through the doorway. So before I could even, he practically runs across the street right now. Guns blazing, right? He walked across the street and he's like, I'm going in. So before we know it, we're in the store. It's not like you would think that it would be like an adult shop or something, and it wasn't. It just seemed like there's some like bathing suits and there's some stuff right there, and James is showing me on the video, and then he's like, hey, it's a restaurant. And so he walks me farther in there, and there's like a nice lady working behind the counter, man. This is like an auntie age, DI age, Puerto Rican lady. And behind her is a giant sign, right? And the sign, the advertisement, it's a dick on a stick. Like literally, there's a stick coming up the bottom of it, right? And it's got those two things hanging right there. It's got the big old freaking shaft. And this lady's laughing. I don't know. What did you tell her, James? Why she was laughing so much?
You know what? I don't
Esta
recall.
llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I don't recall exactly what I told her. I would have to go back and look at the video.
Yeah, because she's laughing, right? I'm looking. She's laughing, and then the sign of the restaurant was called Mr. Weenie's Waffles. I was like, what is this place, man? What is this Wonderland? I wonder what the food tasted like. What is this? Yeah.
And this is not the first place I've ever seen anything like that. I don't know if it's like a Latino America thing, but I've seen some in Madrid, Spain, and I also seen one in Cancun, Mexico. Same type of spots. I think in one of them, I think in Madrid, it might have been called like Pingeria or something like that. But man, I was so it's not my first time, so I wasn't shocked. But it was. I do find it quite humorous, whenever I see spots like that.
No, it was pretty funny. It was just out of nowhere. There's all the tourists walking by, and everybody looked all hella normal. Like you would think when you walk into a store, you'll see some gothic chick with a freaking tongue piercing and a freaking, like behind the counter, or just something crazy like that, But no, it was just regular people.
Yeah.
Working a dick on a stick.
with the Jesse thing when you got back to your cell and you told him about it.
He was like, "What the?" Hey, Jesse's indisposed for a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
But he'll be back shortly. But
Agua.
What?
Agua.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so for anybody that's wondering about the video visit he's talking about, I haven't uploaded it yet. I'll be uploading it sometime this week. So just check out the profile whenever you get a moment, and you'll be able to see them. Recently, I think yesterday I started uploading some of the New York visits, some of the New York video visits that I had done that I hadn't uploaded yet. Some of them where I think David got the best part of our vacation when we were on the New Jersey Turnpike, and then I'm not sure if I told you, but we ended up going to Jersey Shore and we ended up doing a little tour around the Jersey Shore house, and I know you were dying to use the situation as your placazo, but you were a day too late or a day too early. If you would have called a day earlier.
Oh, Dave the situation.
Yep.
I was Dave the situation.
Yep.
Yep, and I feel like honestly, James, like this is the one time that I felt like our friendship has been put in jeopardy. Yeah, this is the one time right here where James takes me to New York. He's like, Dave, open your eyes, you're in New York. I'm like, fuck yeah, finally. And I'm like, all right, James, what do you call this? He's like, well, it's a turnpike. I'm like, oh, cool. Like I'm thinking, like, man, like, turnpike. What is that, James? He's like, well, in New York, it's called a freeway. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, in my head, I'm still trying to be like optimistic. Like my boy spent the time. He's got me on the turnpike. I'm gonna make the best of it. So I'm like, James, what do you call that right there? Oh, that's a Honda Accord. That's a 2004 Honda Accord. Oh, fuck, cool, man. Damn, I didn't know they had those in New York. I'm still trying to be optimistic. I'm thinking in my head like, fuck, man. And then I'm like, James, what is that? That's a flashing light. He goes, no, we just opened the door. That's inside the car. Oh, fuck, all right, cool.
Hey, Jesse got the best part. He got the Statue of Liberty. He got to see quinceañeras. He got to see the missing towers monument they got right there in the Jersey River. Side, the Hudson River. Yeah.
Hey, so then he's out, right? He's like, all right, we're outside right now. We're walking. I was like, oh, well, where we at? He's like, oh, we're in the parking lot. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, but look right there. You see that building? I was like, oh, fuck, cool. What kind of what building is that? He's like, honestly, I'm not sure. What do you mean you're not sure? But I'm still trying to be optimistic, I'm like, okay, well, those people, who are they? He goes, oh, well, we call those Americans. Those are called Americans, I was like, oh, okay, fuck, man, I heard about those. I read about Americans, here and there. But finally, I get to see some, for myself. And I'm just like, fuck, this is worst video visit ever.
You were out on the day room risking your life for that. Come on now.
Yeah, risking my life for a turnpike.
All bad.
Bad.
That's
how that all went down. Yeah. Hey, who do we got on here, James? On this Saturday morning.
Okay. So
it's like afternoon now.
So we got let me see. So on YouTube, on the YouTube side, we had Gordita, Anita. We had Esther. We also got Chubby Jessica, and she got some questions on here for us. And then on the TikTok side, we got Snow. She just writes, "Hi James, hey, what's up, Snow?" We got Dangerous LA Cruise Nights. We got Timber 76.
How do they know my stripper name? Oh, go ahead.
We got Lovely Gigi. She writes, "These guys." We got Cha Cha. She wrote Ola. We got Mimi, Maria. Let me see who else do we got on here. Oh, we got Marlene. You guys had Marlene cracking up. Marlene. We have it. We had Craven. That's right, Craven. We had Craven Moorhead. We got AZ Ryder. Let me see. We got Cowboy Sylvia. And let me see who else. We have Xavier. And right now we got about 13 people watching on TikTok, and we got about another.
Hey, that's cool.
another, what do you call it? Let me see. I don't know, like 6 on YouTube. So we got about 20 people listening to the conversation right now.
That's cool.
Chubby Jessica's back. We've missed her.
Don't know where the hell she's been.
She's been MIA. So we're glad to have her back.
Yep, she's an OG on this channel, like Marlene.
Yep, Marlene.
Hey, I was telling Gary the other day about our conversation about him fielding grounders. Yeah, I was laughing, man. He was dying.
Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah, Gary, man. Gary's hella cool, man. I got a lot of love for that fool right there.
Yeah, I was able to do a video visit with him the other day when we were out in Puerto Rico. And that was pretty cool.
Hey, just a cool motherfucker right there, Gary. Like, honestly, that dude right there is a solid dude right there. Super cool, man. I don't think I've ever, even when he got his date pulled, I never seen him like without a smile on his face or like a positive way of like an outlook. You know, I've been around Gary for a long time, for years, and it just trips me out that dude he's just a positive person. He probably goes in his cell though and just like screams at the wall or something. He has to have something in there.
You can't have such a positive disposition if you don't have some sort of outlet.
Something, yeah. Comes in and screams into the mattress or something. I'll tell him that.
All Tasmanian devil.
Just destroys everything and then just takes a deep breath, puts everything back together, and goes about his day.
He was sharing with me that he recently he's going to be going to the parole board, I think sometime next year, before summer. So we were talking about that for a few moments, and man, if everything works out for him, he'll be out by before December of 2020 2025. Yeah.
Yep. Jesse's got some breaking news.
Yes. Speaking of parole boards, right?
Yeah.
So as you know, and all the listeners know, our buddy Ricky, who started with us from the beginning right here on this channel, Ricky Black, he got found suitable. Remember, a few months ago on September 19th, I believe. Yeah. Well, he had received his transcripts. You get a copy after the hearing of your transcripts, right? So you can review them or whatnot for your own records, and they send those transcripts up to the governor and whoever else has to review them to solidify your grant. Well, for some weird reason, those transcripts were completely unreadable. Like, they were inaudible. The whole thing is just like they some weird thing happened where like they were putting sentences together. It was weird. I don't know how the transcriber. I don't know what happened. It was like a major glitch in the system.
Some malpractice right there.
Yeah, completely. You could not read the transcripts whatsoever. Like, they were talking. It was like two different people's transcripts mixed into one. It was weird. Well, anyways,
sometimes he talks like that when he gets on a good one.
Well, the other day, he just sent me some paperwork today that he just got yesterday. Matter of fact, that they basically sent him back for another hearing because they needed transcripts that they could read.
Can you believe that?
So what does that mean then? What does that mean for him? That he has to start all over?
So Yep, basically, watch. So no, he has a hearing. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you the date so you can tune in, James.
They banked him.
No, he didn't get him bonked.
Oh, he's not in bonked?
No, he didn't get him bonked. He didn't get him bonked. Look at watch. Hold on, let me get him. I have the papers.
Now, we just got this paper today, and we're tripping out on this whole little thing right here. Like, hey, wait a minute here.
I've never heard of anything like this.
How is it that you get found suitable? The governor goes to review the transcripts so they can decide whether they're going to take action or not and let you go home, and they decide. They look at this piece of paper or this transcript, this packet,
gibberish,
and it's nothing but gibberish. It looks like a computer virus.
Right.
And then they
engineers.
And so basically they pulled his date over it.
Those damn computer engineers need to get it right.
I blame them, honestly.
Yeah.
If they were to get into something like respectable, like psychology or business,
then that would be different.
That wouldn't happen.
You know what I mean? Maybe we wouldn't be having these problems.
That was an inside joke.
To get their coding right.
Yeah, they got to get their coding right, honestly.
Yeah, but anybody could do engineering, so they probably just took whoever to do it. And
that's what I was thinking.
Now we're having problems right now with Ricky's transcripts because that's probably somebody fresh out of high school did it or something.
Nah, man, they probably got with a plumber. The plumber probably transferred over from plumbing to a computer, making computer databases.
To engineering?
Yeah.
Well, that's usually the prerequisite.
Yeah. Yeah, plumbing is usually the prerequisite for computer engineering. So
You better watch out. You're gonna get
Shots fired.
off this channel right now.
Shots fired.
Shots fired right there.
shots fired. Okay, so check this out. So his hearing, his meeting is scheduled for
November 25th.
11 a.m. No, 11 a.m. November 25th.
How the hell did you know?
Got it
Seen
already.
it?
I pulled
Is it
it
on
up
there?
already. I just pulled it up. You know, I'm over here working my Twitter fingers over here.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I got phone numbers and everything.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Yeah, I got it right
have
here. The calling number.
HTTP links.
Yep.
Okay, I have a call-in number, I have a phone conference ID code, and I have a video code, HTTP video code.
Okay. Yeah, I got all that info right here. Yep. I got it on from the website. They post all that stuff up. So I'll be there. I'll be tuned in.
What's the date? November 25th?
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
It'll be November 25th.
Yeah, I got a bunch of
Start time 11
I got a
a.m.
bunch of questions that I want to ask. Well, I want to ask these questions when we come back right now.
Okay.
Right, so it's not called an embankment hearing, though, right?
It's gonna hang up. It's gonna hang up.
Okay. All right. So they're gonna be calling back right now, and oh man, this is gonna be our second executive board meeting. All right, I gotta check my schedule. When is the 25th? The 20th. You know what? Oh, I'm actually off that day, so this is gonna work out perfectly. And for anybody that's wondering what they're talking about is when you get found suitable to go, to be paroled, on your 120th day. Let me snap. Here we go. What county is that in? It's for the whole state of California.
This call is now being
Usted
recorded.
tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
James.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question.
Yeah.
So this is really for you and Jesse. So what's the date? November 25th.
November 25th. Yeah.
So
Monday.
on November 25th, with really no time's notice,
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Black, my man, Ricky Black,
Mm-hmm.
My man.
he's gonna have to go through a whole nother hearing.
No,
No.
they're going to hold a hearing. They're going to hold a hearing, but see, this is what they're asking.
But they're gonna hold a hearing without him.
Yeah,
That's correct.
they're asking. They're asking though. What they're doing in that hearing is asking for a whole nother hearing. It's saying the motion is for them to vacate the panel's September 19, 2024 decision and schedule a new hearing in order to comply with the recording requirement in Penal Code Section 3042 Subdivision B.
What about the video from the first hearing? Can't they just retranscribe the video? Can't they just get somebody who actually knows what they're doing?
I think it was a computer glitch. I really do. It has to be.
No, it's a computer glitch, but the actual hearing that was held,
Right.
Ricky's parole hearing,
Right.
had to have been recorded visually,
Yeah.
right?
Into a system though, but I think as it was being recorded,
It
I think
just-
they were getting interference from another hearing because it literally sounds like two hearings together. Like literally, if you try to read his transcripts, it literally sounds like two hearings. It's not the transcriber. This is something that literally came from like a
They
computer.
don't got a court reporter in there that does that? Or the
No.
computer does it on its own?
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. Another thing is, okay, so when they give them a new hearing, let's say they decide in this meeting right here, right, that they say, okay, well, my man Ricky Black needs to have another hearing. How long are they going to take to reschedule him a hearing?
6 months.
Fuck. And then once that's done in 6 months, he still has to
Another
go
100.
6 months,
And,
another
5
100
months.
days to get.
150. Yeah, 150 days.
I'm not sure how that'll work, to be honest.
So this just put my man Ricky Black off for a year?
That's crazy, dog. That is crazy.
But hold on. So because on here I'm reading the information here on the calendar. It says approval for motion of hearing with procedural error. What about if they deny it? What happens if they deny it? Do they continue with his original parole date?
Right. If they deny it, then he's gone. Then he's out of here.
Okay.
But how's the governor going to know though? to whether to pull the date or to do anything anyway if the governor can't review the transcripts.
I know, that is crazy.
You know what I'm saying? The governor is going to just be like, well, I'm pretty sure you guys got this one right. I'm going to take no action and release my man Ricky Black. You know, how if there's nothing of substance for him to go by, you know, and that's what I don't understand.
Hey, so look, Trip. So the cool thing about this is I'm not sure if you guys are going to be available for that day, but if you guys are more than welcome to call in, and then you guys could hear, you know, what's happening with this hearing, because pretty much all they do is you know, from what I saw in the last one that I saw was you know, they'll read the individual's name, and then they'll ask if there's anybody, you know, if there's anybody opposing the release or if there's anybody in favor, and then you know, if you have family members, lawyers, or your support team, you know, they just read off whatever comments they have, and then you have 2 minutes to read off all these comments. So what a lot of people do is they'll have like a bunch of family members line up, and then they'll continue as soon as the 2 minutes are up. The next family member will get in line.
Y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Or get in line, and then they'll continue off reading off, you know, whatever comment that, you know, they had going on. And then within by that day, I would say maybe by like 8 p.m. they'll release the notice of the outcome of everybody's hearing. But for everybody's, I was going through all the hearings for the last few months, and the last time they denied somebody, what I think was like in May of this year, that, you know, from a bank hearing. Everybody else has been approved.
What was it, that Maybelline?
Andrew Luster. Well, Andrew Luster, he actually he got found suitable on that notice for that day. But then I'm not sure exactly how they pulled this date. I'm not sure if it was the governor or who pulled it, but they ended up rescinding his date. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with him. He has to go back in front of the board, or since they're trying to change the law, if it's going to affect them on possibly, you know, putting him back to his original board date, which was like in another 25 years or something.
You know what's crazy is that a lot of the new viewers on here, unless they've gone back and listened to the old YouTube videos, I don't think they even know anything really about Ricky, about Jesse, about myself. You know, I don't know. It's like
well, what I normally do is, like, you know, when we disconnect the call, I'll normally let everybody know that, you know, who you guys are, and if they're interested in listening to your backstories, you know, to jump on YouTube at Collect Call From, go to the playlist and look up your names, you know, Jesse Nava or David Lopez, where you guys, you know, went through your whole journey from your earliest childhood memory to, you know, where you're at now, and what things you guys have done to end up where you're at, and like your you know, whatever you guys shared in your journey. So yeah, I do put that I put that out. I'm not sure if people go back and check it out, but you know, I always welcome, you know, for them to jump over, if they're on TikTok, to jump over on YouTube, you know, so they could go ahead and you know, get all that information.
That's cool. Now, so yeah, for those that don't know about Ricky Black, man, Ricky Black's a good dude. I've known him for a long time. When I first got to Tehachapi Prison, which was a 180 level 4, I had already made a decision when I got there. You know, it's 180, so I gotta put the yard down when I get there. So basically, what that means is I'm gonna find a victim, and I'm gonna set a demo down and assault them. And I did it in a lot of the prisons where that I arrived to before. So Ricky Black was actually on that yard, and he was working the building, and I was in the C status building, which is like I had no privileges. It's like basically living in the hole, but outside of the hole. When I just had too many write-ups and stuff like that. You know, it was a different time. I was a different person. So Ricky Black was working as a tier tender, a porter in my building, and I had a cellmate. So I had actually told my cellmate when I got there, well, we need to find somebody. Let's drop the yard. Let's let these motherfuckers know who we are, and that's what it is, you know. And so my cellmate was game. And so the door happened to open. Ricky Black was in there. I didn't know him at the time. He was in there cleaning up, and they opened the door to do like a medical line. My Shelly was going out for something for medical, and we both ran down the stairs and attacked Ricky. And so, tell you right now, all the viewers out there, don't do that. Ricky was not. Ricky did not go down without a fight, man. Ricky was like
not an easy target.
He was not an easy target. Like that man right there, it was almost like you seen the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. it was like one of those situations, you know, like we were just after him, man. It was like two coyotes, me and my celly, man, and we were dropping bombs, and there was the cops sprayed the crap out of us right away, just doused the whole area with pepper spray. Ricky was like bobbing and weaving. Every hit that he swung freaking landed, hit its mark. He was hitting nothing but jaw, nothing but jaw. Yeah, that's my boy though, my boy Ricky Black, man.
Hey.
Yeah.
And when this occurred, was Ricky was still on the main line at this time, right?
Nah, it was 180 level 4 Tehachapi, which is it was an SNY yard.
Oh, okay.
That's those yards. Yeah. It wouldn't have happened like that on the main line. It would have been, you have to do things a little differently over there. Mostly I would have done the same thing on the main line, but I would have done it differently. I would have just raised my hand. And usually it's just to get out of those yards, you know. Yeah, those types of yards right there, like just like we were talking about before, those are hardcore yards. 180 level 4 SNY is a fucking madhouse. Those yards are extremely violent. There's more incidents continuously than there is on the main line on SNY 180s. The difference is the mainline yards, there's a lot more like killings and a lot, you know, but there's the same amount of stabbings and all those things that happen, but it's just a madhouse. So that's a yard, like if you're going to be involved with anything, you kind of want to go and hurt somebody as soon as you get there, just so people know that, you know, kind of where you stand in the fold. Yep. And
so pretty much,
you know.
So pretty much you had just landed there, and then Ricky Black was he was just there, so he you know, he was the mark, pretty much.
Yeah, he was on the tier talking shit.
Yeah, he was on the tier talking shit, you know, like because we're like I said, we were like we were real loud on that tier. We were real loud. We were like obnoxious because we were like, that's how you live. We didn't have nothing. We didn't have no TVs. We didn't have shit, you know, because we had lost our privileges for all that stuff. So we were loud. Like in the hole, everybody's loud. Same right there. So we were yelling, and he was on the tier doing stuff, so we needed his help to do stuff, you know. And he was like talking shit, you know. He was like kind of like upset, irritated with us, you know. And he was like, I remember he said, he was like, well, everybody's always doing this and that, and like I ain't afraid of you guys. I got freaking I got backup also and stuff like that. Like he was just basically just talking shit on the tier. And then
drunk too.
Yeah, I heard he was a little buzzed, dude. You know? Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah. And so he freaking so when the door opened, when the door happened to open for medical, and he was still out there on the tier, and I told my celly, I was like, well, as soon as the door opens, just get this fool, you know. And that's just what it was, you know. But I said I didn't know him at the time, and you know, he had a part to play in the things that happened. But at the end of the day, I was looking for someone to victimize when I got there, and that's what it was. That's what it was, man. So all these years later, it's crazy that I run into Ricky, and you know, he had signed off because Ricky was a gangster back then. You know, he had signed off. He was like, well, I you know, regardless of what it was, he took responsibility for his part. We took responsibility for our part, and we was all right, you know. And so we seen him on the yard a few times, you know. I would see him on the yard here and there. I would just say what's up to him. I was respectful to him because he handled his shit right. He didn't get scared, you know. He just did what he had to do, and he respected our gangster just the way that we handled that whole situation. And he was like, all right, well, we'll just leave that alone. So all these years later, when I come here to this prison, Ricky's already years into his change. I'm already years into my change, and we didn't even recognize each other. Back then, I was bald. You know. I had that, like, you could tell I was a gang member. But so when he sees me now, I got hair, I got my glasses, I just look normal shit, and Ricky was tripping out, you know. He was bald back then too, matter of fact. You know, he had long hair, and it's crazy that we worked on a few things together, just trying to help other people. As facilitators and stuff, and it was crazy that I actually got to write him a support letter. I wrote him a support letter for board. I talked about what happened when I first got there, when I first seen him, and just, you know, who he is today. And that's my man Ricky Black.
My man Ricky Black. Damn, and I was just telling my wife the other day, I was like, man, Ricky's about to be getting out at the end of January, man. I'm gonna be going down to the Valle Imperial soon. I can't wait. And now, man, with this, which you just dropped in my lap, I'm like, man, like I'm not trying to wait another year, man. Like Ricky Black was supposed to be numero tres, and because somebody over there, drop the ball, you know, he might have to sit in there for another year.
Yeah, that's craziness. Like to think that he may have to go through the whole process again over a freaking computer glitch on their part. And what if he doesn't get the same commission? Like what does that even mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like is he gonna what it could be a commissioner that feels some kind of way? The process is subjective. So how do we know? How do we know that it's not going to be? You know, like that's. It just trips me out. Like I'm still like lost for words on it. Like, well, what is he going to do? You know, like, is he going to have to go through the whole thing again? What if a commissioner's like, oh, well, there's certain aspects of this that I don't like, or this, you know, like, is his date called into question, or do they just need to get everything on the record again? You know, like.
Yeah. Yeah, and that,
hopefully it'll be the same commissioner.
And you know what? And that's one of those things that you know, when you end up in prison, you lose control. You know, it's not up to you. It's not up to any of you guys. You know, you know, the decisions are being made by other individuals, and when they make mistakes, you pretty much you have no say in it. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, and and hopefully, you know, it plays out in Ricky's favor.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
And we got a double whammy.
I got hit with all the notices.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll just make him appreciate his freedom that much more. If you know, it sucks to go through that. I can't even imagine, because this waiting period I've heard so far now is like one of the hardest things. You know, the waiting in the end. You know, and so. I can only imagine, like, to just have the wind taken out of your sail. Like, really? You know what I mean?
Yep, Ricky was waiting for all this stuff, man.
You know what? It just kind of seems like, you know, they're trying to hold on to people as much as they can. It's kind of fishy.
It's kind of fishy, huh?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll give you a call back on that, James.
All right, cool.
Sure,
Perfect.
Fishy.
All right. Hey, Chubby Jessica. Yeah. So if you want to attend that hearing that they were talking about, I dropped the link in the chat. You just hit that, and if you have Microsoft, now you don't even need Microsoft Zoom anymore. You just click on that link at a few minutes before 11. It'll open it up. You put your name. You could have your camera on. You could have your camera off. It's totally up to you. And you could listen to the board hearing. And if you want to speak on anybody's behalf, you do have that option. And there it is. The phone is ringing. And let me patch it through.
This call is now being recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5.
5.
Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
James.
David.
Yeah. Hey, it's crazy that you know who else does their podcast in a bathroom? Doesn't Demi Moore do one in a restroom?
I don't know. I know she has a movie. She has a new movie that came out not too long ago where she switches her body and it's in the restroom.
Huh. Yeah, I thought she did like a podcast in her restroom, but she's got a sick ass restroom.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, we got a sick ass restroom too. If you think about it, there's a badass restroom right here. We got like pretty much our restroom is also like a closet, filing cabinet, sleeping area, office.
You know what? I was having a conversation with my wife this morning, and I was like, man, you know what? With my luck, with the way that I am, because she's always complaining about my like the way I put my clothes in my drawers and like the way I set everything up. She's like, man, like your socks are coming out the drawer. You just fill it up. And I'm like, man, you know what? That's why I didn't continue my path going to prison, because something like this would have landed me on the SNY side faster than fast. It's frowned upon. They probably would have. I would have not brushed my teeth fast enough for and somebody would have been shooting on a wheeler that I wasn't moving fast enough for them. So and I joke about stuff like
For
that,
sure.
but you know, in other jokes and whatnot, people, you know, they get removed for stuff like that, you know, for not being like super clean and, you know, cleaning their floors and you know, things of that
Yep.
nature. And I think my wife thought I was joking, but I was being serious when I made that comment.
No, it's true. Um, there's like it's almost like a OCD in here, you know. Like there'll be times where I'll go outside and it'll be nighttime. It's nighttime. It's cold outside. I got like my sweats on and I'm just chilling. I'm on the bleachers, you know, just hanging out. Like we'll go for CGA. And when I was out there, people like there was a dude that told me he's like, man, you know, I would hate to like wear all that clothes. Like he was out there freezing. He was in shorts in a short sleeve shirt, freezing. And I'm out there with a beanie on. I got gloves. I got my sweats. And I was like, dude, why aren't you out here wrapped up? He's like, oh, well, because I wouldn't want to wash all that shit when I go back in. This is just a little bit of laundry that I'm going to do. I said, what are you talking about? You're going to go bird bath right now? And he's like, yeah, I got to wash all my clothes and shit. I was like, see, that's where you and I differ. Like, look, I'm clean. I'm a clean person. Like, if I go outside and I do something physically active, like, I'll come in here and I'll shower because I'm going to get sweaty and I'm not going to want to sleep like that, you know? But if I'm going out there and it's cold and I'm just walking outside and I'm only walking out the building for like 100 feet from the building and sitting on a bleacher and coming right back in, like, why do I got to wash all my shit? Like, what?
When I first started breaking myself of all that OCD stuff, I used to tell people, you're going to go outside and bird bath every time you go check the mail? You're going to come in and shower and wash your clothes and change your clothes every time you go check the mail?
Yeah.
Or drive down the store to go to the grocery store?
Go to the Circle K,
yeah.
Come in and wash all your clothes, James.
Yeah, you're going to go put gas, you're going to come back and wash all your clothes and jump in the shower? You know, because, you know, everybody had those mañas, you know, but then when you start to realize, like, what am I doing? Like, my whole day revolves around some weird-ass OCD habit that I have that's nothing but a distraction.
Yep.
You know, it's not, you know, but it's just the way, like, we get conditioned like that in here, and it takes a little while to get to break yourself of it.
Yeah, we're just like, come on, man. Like, just because I walk out the building, like, now I'm obligated because of some prison OCD. You know, I know guys that go out to chow. They would go out to go eat their breakfast in the morning in the chow hall, and they come back in bird bath. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, are you serious?
Yeah, that's a little bit too much. Hey, so so prior to this is something that you guys picked up in prison, because prior to prison, you guys weren't operating like that, right?
Hell no. No, I mean, I was clean out there. I took showers, and you know, I was regular. My hygiene was cool.
Yeah.
You know, I was snazzy out there, James. I was
Showered
snazzy.
once a month.
I showered once a month. You know, maybe like. No, I took I rolled around in the dirt like a horse.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I just strip down and just roll around in the yard.
I lick my paws like a cat.
Yeah. No, but yeah, out there, I dress to the nines. I dress to the nines out there. You know, I freaking I go out there and I freaking I make sure I got my pants or you ever seen like one of the Three Musketeers?
Yeah.
That's me. I put that big old hat on with the fluffy feather.
Hey, I got a question.
My ostrich.
Your ostrich,
Yeah,
your
go
ostrich
ahead.
boots. I got a question.
My ostrich skin boots. Go ahead.
I got a question from Chubby Jessica, and she's asking, how do they deal with dieting in prison while on lockdown, especially where options are limited?
Hey, don't talk to Jesse about dieting right now, Chubby Jessica. Like, I'm trying to get him to eat in excess right now, and you're not helping. Now he's going to think about it. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Jesse.
Thanks for reminding me of one of my diets.
Yeah. Tell her how you're not going to be making good food now the whole time we're in here. Go ahead.
Yes. Now we will not be eating like gluttons because of the reminder of this diet. See, I usually eat more when I'm stuck in the cell because you eat out of boredom sometimes. But as far as the whole diet revolves around whatever you're going to eat in the cell anyway. The only thing is when you're in the cell, you want to eat more because there's nothing going on. Like, I eat less when I'm out there moving around because, like, I don't go to breakfast. I usually eat, like, carrots and peanut butter and apple for lunch, and then I come back from work in the afternoon. I get my granola, and then I'll usually, like, make a bowl. If I'm not going to school, we'll make something to eat, you know. But that's usually the meal that I eat, and then in the evening I'll eat a snack. But as far as like dieting in the cell on lockdown, I think it's probably non-existent. If it was like a real lockdown and we had to,
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
if we had to budget our food, you know, like it'd be a little easier because you would just eat a little bit each day because you know it's gonna last you for months and months. But we don't get those kind of lockdowns anymore.
Let me tell you right now, Jesse loves the idea of a diet.
I love the idea of that.
Like, honestly, I see Jesse on Slim Fast, Jenny Craig, and Ozempic. If he could. If he could. Yeah, they have that. Like, this fool loves diets. Like, he's been on diets the whole time I've been back. The whole time I've been here. This fool's been on diets. And
None of them work.
None of them work. Like, really, as soon as he starts a diet, my job is to try to get him out of the diet. That way I can eat. I've probably undone 15 of Jesse's diets by now. This fool's on fat burners, joint health, super greens, aminos. This fool's super healthy, but like at the same time not healthy.
Hey,
It's crazy.
I got another question for you guys from Sophia, and she's ask him if the calls in the CDC are going to continue to be free this coming year. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I hope so. They're supposed to be. Yeah, that shit'll suck, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to be. They haven't said nothing about it, but they kind of like spring stuff on like that. They spring stuff on us. One thing they did do is they charge us for the messages now. Well, they charged us before, but before they gave us 20 free messages, and then they charged 5 cents after that. So now they only give us 5 free messages. But they said on the notice when they did that they were going to maintain free calls for us. I mean, they're getting us on the apps anyway.
That would suck if they did, because I mean, shit, that's how we're able to maintain communication with these phone calls, and we're able to be here on hours on end without having to worry about paying for them. For me, it would be devastating. But hopefully it doesn't change.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Hey, I would be calling you. I'd be calling you. We'll be 5 minutes into the call, and I'd be like, all right, James, well, like a candle in the wind, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. You're like, hey, we went to talking. You never know. That's not even what I say. You never know what you're going to get. You heard me once I said it. You're like, we're gonna be calling little. We're gonna be doing little like pop shot freaking podcasts. You know what I mean? Like 5-minute quick hits.
Hey, I'm gonna need you guys. To write up some letters, send them individually, and then I'll have AI read out the conversation for us.
Oh, for sure. Yep. That's what we're gonna call. We're gonna call them little quick hits. We're gonna need you guys to be on stand too, viewers. We need you guys there for us. If we're gonna be doing these little 2-minute podcasts randomly, we're gonna need a following.
What was her name that asked that question? Sophia.
Yeah, Sophia. Yeah.
Sounds like she got a dude busted. Sounds like she got her dude or a family member's busted. She's already worrying about the phone calls.
Yep.
No, I think you'll be all right. Because like Dave said, it's not on the chopping block. They haven't said anything about it. The governor with the new California model, he understands how critical communication with the family members is in rebuilding relationships and ties to society. So I see that being one of the last things to go.
Yep, no, that's true. What else you got for us, James? Any more questions?
Yeah, let me see. I got some more from Chubby Jessica right here. Let me see. Chubby Jessica, I'm sorry. I have a problem with my weight. Little sad face. Let me see here. Okay, that dieting.
Well, don't eat so damn much.
Yep.
All right, so I got one.
You want to go on a diet with me? If you want to go on a diet with me, we could start a diet, but David's gonna ruin it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Like if you're in a diet with Jesse and you're maintaining like Jesse's dietary habits, like I'm going to be undermining the process the whole time. Just so you know.
All right, so I got one here for you guys.
Jessica, let's just talk you into that.
We're gonna change her name from Chubby Jessica to Sexy Jessica when we're done with my diet.
Yep. It's like, all right, you've lost enough weight.
Yeah. Go ahead. What do you got?
So Chubby Jessica is asking, how should the concept of redemption be weighed against the gravity of the crimes committed when considering parole for the Manson women, especially given the impact of their actions on the victim's family?
Hey, what a freaking brilliant question, honestly.
Well,
That fucking question. We're gonna have to answer that question in
pieces,
in
fractions.
Yeah. So all we've heard now is Manson family.
Yeah.
So
No, the reality is, let me try to answer it real quick, right? Because I think that question is as complex as it sounded and as great as it sounded and detailed as it sounded. I think it's a simple answer.
No, it is.
Like the reality of it is, you can't necessarily weigh redemption against
one crime against the other, I guess, as far as redemption goes,
Right. You can't.
Yeah.
Like, the truth about it is, murder is murder. The impact, all of us have committed heinous crimes, and the impact that we've left on the families of the individuals who we've harmed and society as a whole, like, the impact and the ripple effect is definitive. It's ongoing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no, so to say that we've ever completely redeemed ourselves, it's virtually impossible to say that. That's just the truth about it. They can't, because you ask them and they will have a totally different perspective.
Well, and we turn this out to we bring this question back to the viewers, right? Because Jesse and I, we're both here for taking somebody's life, both of us. Yes, I committed a 187. I did it. I'm the shooter. Jesse, he committed a 187. He's the shooter. So is our individual victims any less relevant than, let's say, Sharon Tate?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was brutal what they did to her. Absolutely, she's an absolute victim.
What murder isn't brutal?
Yeah, but to the family of the individual who I took from them, is his death less relevant? I think not. I owe the same debt to society that all them Manson individuals owe to society. Do I owe less a debt? Why? Because I only have, I'm here for one. Does that? So it can't work like that. It's like, look, if
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
all life is equal, they didn't. None of the people that like the victims in our case, they shouldn't have died. They didn't have that coming. So, just like that poor young woman didn't have that coming. So all we can do is better ourselves and be better people. The notoriety behind the case shouldn't matter just because it was highly publicized. I'm gonna call back right now.
And it's almost impossible to weigh one against the
Oh,
other.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. I'm gonna call.
All right. So for those of you guys tuning in right now, this call is coming in from Centinela State Prison in the Valle Imperial Valley, which is located right next to the Mexican border. This is going to be Centinela D Yard Level 3. And this is going to be David and Jesse. If you haven't heard their stories before, go ahead and jump over to YouTube at Collect Call From. Go to playlist, look up David Lopez and Jesse Nava, and you'll come across their journeys. And here they are. They're calling right back.
This call is now being
Esta
recorded.
es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
Hey, James.
Yup.
Hey, you know what I was thinking before we went off?
Yeah.
Look, Manson style murders and lifestyles are happening right now. Right now in Southern California and across the nation. All those things are happening right now. But we don't know them as that. Why? For one, a lot of times, and I don't mean this to be like degrading towards whites or anything like that, because that's not my intention. But a lot of times when it involves women, and a lot of times when it involves women, and it involves a leader that's, he's very what's the word I'm looking for? A word.
Charismatic?
It's, persuasive. Charismatic. That's the word I'm looking for. A charismatic leader that's directing white women to commit crimes against, high society and whatnot. So it gets highly publicized. But James, how many times? I don't know what you grew up in the hood, James, but Jess and I, we've come across many charismatic leaders, and guess what? They're gang leaders, and they direct us. And not only that is, look at how many women are caught up in that fold. You saw Mousy on freaking what was that? Mi Vida Loca. But they don't. That's what I'm saying. But you know how many women are in Chowchilla right now because they subscribe to that ideology? They're here for hot ones. They're here for 187s. They've taken life. They're whacking girls in there. Look at Thumper freaking she sliced that girl.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing shit. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is they're not publicized because they don't look like they don't have that image that can sell. They had Manson. That's all it was. It was just any other gang. It was a dude manipulating a bunch of young people to committing crimes for his own sick freaking fantasies and motivations. But it's happening right now. There's all kinds of little cliques all over LA. There's cliques all up north. They're in other states now. Gangs have spread like a cancer. But they don't.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And that's just it's unfortunate because a lot of people are dying still, but they're not going to get the same publicity. They're not going to require the same level of redemption as, say, somebody who's taken the life of an elite. Look at the Menendez brothers. Same situation right there. Is their redemption because they took two lives in a crazy way, and it was their parents. So are their lives more important than the two lives that Jesse are here for? It's just, how do you weigh that? That's for society. That's for you guys as viewers, you guys out there, society, you guys can decide, hey, well, I think these guys have done their time. I think these guys have taken responsibility for the things that they did in the past, and I think that we as society are able to receive them back out here with us. But Jesse and I, we can't make that determination. That's not something that we can say, oh, well, we've served enough time, because that would be a disservice to our victims. Do I believe that I can successfully function in society? No, absolutely. I do believe it with all my heart that I've made the changes necessary to become like you guys. And when I say to become like you guys, because we were something different. We became something different. But I believe that we've put in the necessary work, but that'll be for the governor to decide, that'll be for the board to decide, and it's not up to us. And it's not up to us to judge anybody either, because I like to judge sometimes. I do. Sometimes I want to sit here and be like, well, those fucking dudes, man, they're doing this and that. He's got crack with a phone, who kills their mom, and blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would like to take the victim stance and be like, well, why are they getting this treatment and we're not? But at the end of the day, it's not about that. It's about righting our wrongs. And that's what it is. But if you want to talk shit, James, I'm here, man. I'll listen.
Hey, you know what? I think that's why there's a lot of issues everywhere everybody goes. It's just because people tend to pay attention to what the next person is, opposed to them paying attention to what they're doing and figuring themselves out. I think if people focus on themselves more, I think people would be be able to fix what they got wrong within themselves, opposed to judging the next person, because that's easy, pointing out the defects.
No, it's true. There's people right now that are ready to receive me and Jesse right now out in society. We got a job waiting for us. We have employment opportunities. We have housing opportunities. We have careers. We have things that are waiting for us right now. And there's guys that are going and they're speaking on our behalf and saying, hey, these are not the same people that did that horrendous thing all those years ago. Right now. And you know what? And that type of love, Jesse and I feel. We feel it anytime you guys out there be like, you know what, man, I know your guys' change is genuine. You could feel it. You could tell something's different with you guys. A lot of guys can't even see us for who we are back then, who we were, Like you've seen, I have news articles. Jesse's got news articles out there. We're not hard to look up. And you see this person, these people, these things that we were back then, and it's like, damn, man, like how could we have been so blind for so long, But there, on the flip side of it, there's people. I guarantee you, there's people that are like, man, keep those motherfuckers exactly where they're at.
Hey, let me ask you.
I'm serious.
How is it when you guys run into people that knew you guys when you guys were on your prime on the main line, and they see you guys now? What kind of reactions do you guys get?
Blown the fuck away.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't even recognize us.
Yep. Don't even recognize us. Ricky had to really take a good look at me, and that was when I was just in the thick of my shit. But the person I am today, most people, James, don't even know that I'm that same person. They don't, because I had a name, and people knew me by a different name. And the fact that I go by my name, I go by David. I don't introduce myself as anything else. I don't have a gang alias. I don't have any of those things that I go by. But most people only knew me as that alias. And the crazy part, if I was to cross paths with a lot of these dudes, and all I do is introduce myself as David and go about my business, most people, even if they knew me before, won't even know that that's me. That's how much I've changed. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I go up to them, hey, what's up, man? My name's David. And they know me. I know them. But I don't say nothing. I won't say nothing. I'll be like, look, man, if you don't recognize me, you don't know me, then you don't know me. Because you know me by this shell that I used to be, this mask. So I'll meet you again in my new life somehow. But right now it's just what it is. Hey, my name's David. What's up, man? And I tell people too, look, man, I'm here for anything positive. Anything positive you need, come hit me up. Anything negative, I don't want to know. That's how I am when I meet people.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And that's basically the same thing with me. Like, when guys see me, a lot of guys come here, that knew me from other places, or even guys that knew me here before. It's a motivation for them. A lot of dudes talk about a group all the time. When I run into them in group and stuff like that, they're like, man, well, I see him, and it's like, whatever he's on, I want some of that. Whatever it is, it's working. And so, for me, it feels good. It's validation that what I'm doing is right and it's working. And I've said it before. One of my boys, he's an ex-lifer. He's out there, Nacho. Ignacio, the one you did the interviews with.
Yeah.
And he used to tell me in the beginning. Like, look, fool, at some point, your goal is to transcend this stuff so much that people don't even remember you or know you for who you used to be whatsoever. But right now, it's cool to use it for connection. To connect with some of these guys, but at some point that's going to have to be somebody else's job to connect, because you're going to transcend that, and you don't want to hang on to who you used to be just to connect with people. It's once you remove yourself far enough from it, you elevate, you move on to the next step, the next leg of who you are, your character, your journey. And I have somebody real special that's helping me rebuild my identity and rebuild who I am. And I understand the power in that now. I understand how important that is, because it's like, when I get out of prison, I don't want to be remembered or known for the guy that spent 25 years in prison, the murderer, the ex-drug dealer, the ex-drug addict, the ex-gang member, the ex, I want to be known for all the things that I'm doing today and who I am today. And even with my family, I want them to forget a lot of who they knew as a person, and so.
Wow.
And that's why That's why I strive so hard to do what I have to do to separate myself and remove myself like Gary says all the time, every day I throw more dirt on top of the grave of the old Gary, and that's every day I try to make greater distance from who I used to be, so that when I am out there in society, I've held, workshops and stuff like that with elites from academic institutions and attorneys and stuff like that, the government of Pittsburgh, things like that, and I feel like I held my ground in there with these people, and it's like, okay, they, if I didn't tell them, they probably would never even know or begin to speculate that they're talking to a convicted murderer, and so that's not who I'll be one day. Eventually, I'll be a free man in society, and I'll be living a productive and pro-social life, and the people that know me, just like with Nacho, he meets a lot of people, and when they find out that he's been in prison for as long as he did, and they're like, man, I couldn't even picture that, I couldn't even imagine it, and ultimately that's my goal. I know people from prison always have a certain level of presence about them, but I feel that once I'm out of here and I can wash some of this prison stink off me, that I'll be able to truly transcend this place.
Yeah, you know what? Meeting Nacho, just from meeting him, if he would have never told me, I would have never imagined that, he had been in prison for the amount of time that he did. He's definitely distanced himself from the person that he was.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what all of us should be. I know a lot of guys they get out of prison, their goal is to come back to prison. And again, if that's in the cards, I don't mind. I'm not tripping. But that's not my my dream is like, oh, I'm going to come back to prison. If it's part of what I have to do, then I'm more than willing to do so. But my goal is to get out there and experience the world that I've missed so much of. I gave my whole life to a prison cell. Like literally, I've been locked behind a door since I was 12 years old. I've been coming in 13 years old, coming in and out of the justice system, locked in some form behind some door and under some institution. So so it's probably that. It's probably my charges in the.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Yeah, if you're charging the tablet.
Yeah, you can hear it?
Yeah, I could hear it. Yeah,
right now.
Like a buzzing noise.
All right, it's off. I'm taking it off.
Okay, yeah, it went away.
Well, no, because I didn't want to give James a buzzing noise,
Oh, he can hear the buzzing?
He can hear the buzzing.
Yeah.
Can you?
He
yeah.
can.
Well, not anymore, because, I'm assuming you disconnected it. It's back on. They can hear it. Joe Billings said it. Joe Billings says he could hear it, too.
It's not even charging either.
Nah? Yeah.
I think his charger's messed up. No, it's cool. I got some time on my tablet. I got some life on it.
So it might be my charger, not my tablet that's acting up.
Yeah, I try to plug it in right now, incognito, but James always gets me.
Yeah.
Hey, how many more of these calls you want to do, James? We've been on for almost 3 hours.
Oh, yeah. I think maybe
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
We could do one more. I'm pretty sure my wife noticed that I've been gone for quite a few hours. So, but we'll do one more, and I'm sure you guys got other things you guys need to do.
Yep, I gotta call baby right now.
That's right.
Gotta track down baby. Yep. All right, I'm gonna call back right now.
Okay. All right, cool. We'll be waiting. Hola, mamá. ¿Dónde está tu mamá? ¿A dónde fue? ¿O fue a agarrar la comida? Okay. ¿Y tu tía? No sabes. Okay. Una llamada más, and then I'll get off y te ayudo, okay? All right. No, Jesse y David.
This call is now being recorded.
Link. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged
man, I don't even know yet. My wife will surprise me.
Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5.
5.
Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello, Jesse, David. Hello. Can you hear me? If you guys can hear me. Okay, I can
Yeah, I
hear you
got
guys
you.
now. Yep.
Yep. You're back. I don't know what was going on with you, James. Just gotta make sure, man. You know, I didn't want you to. I thought you locked it up. Honestly, I was like, "Oh, that fool's gone, Jess."
I can't lock it up on the calles.
Hey,
I'm that guy. Yeah.
hey, he hooped his mustache and he bounced. I know what happened. we told you to hoop your 114 or your 128, James, not your mustache. Come on, man. Gotta get it together.
Hey, man, I trip out, because sometimes I'll get comments like that, man. People put up like that I'm a PC. I'm like, shit, am I a PC? Shit. I was like, man, I thought you had to go to prison to PC it up. You couldn't be on the streets PC it
Hey,
up.
people are weird like that. Like, no one's like, who's PC? Who's Paceta? Like, really, realistically, like, what are they so delusional in their mind that they think that you've locked it up out of society when you've never been to prison? Are they that far gone? You know what I'm saying? In their brain, it's and that's just what's sad. To be honest with you, man, it's a sad thing because those types of people, there's no way that you can really make it out there as a gang member now. If you're doing anything as a gang member, you're going to end up dead or you're going to end up in prison eventually for the rest of your life. Or you're going to end up hanging it up. You're going to end up hanging it up and coming to one of these non-designated yards and and that's what it is. But you're never going to be what you need, what your family needs you to be. Just there, just present. It's so crazy of a concept. To think that this is what, and I look, for the guys who are in here for the rest of their life, there's some people that ain't got no prospects. They're done. There's not, we were talking about that too, Jesse and I, they came and took some dude the other day out of here, and he was doing all right. Like, he wasn't I'm sure he was doing a bunch of illegal shit if they came and snatched him up because the squad came and got him, but he's not somebody that Jesse and I would spend any time around, hell no. But I didn't think he wasn't somebody that was like a disrespectful dude or nothing like that, But at the end of the day, dude's got no prospects. He's been busted with numerous phones. He's been busted with drugs. He's doing 100 years to life. He can't get family visits. There's nothing that he is looking forward to. What is he got to look forward to? I think that that's probably the person that should be on drugs and using a phone in a cell. I'm just being honest with you. Like, that's not, that guy, this is his life. This is all it's ever going to be. It'll never be nothing else. And they're going to find him dead in a cell one day. Probably from an overdose.
Probably fentanyl.
Yeah, probably from fentanyl, and that's going to be his entire existence. Is that sad? Absolutely, it's sad. But that's not my problem. I've extended a hand to the guy several times, told him, hey, come check out our groups, our CGA groups, and, the college thing, get into college and stuff like that. But I can't hold nobody's hand. And if that's what he's chosen, obviously he did something for them to come get him. And that's his life. That's his existence.
And when you ask people to come join your groups, how often do they take you up on that offer?
Not very often. Sometimes. Most of the time they tell us yeah, but they don't show up. Like they'll tell us, all right, well, what day? We'll tell them the day. We'll give them the spill. And 9 times out of 10 they don't show up. And we're not gonna chase them down, Jesse and I.
No.
If they find themselves in our circle somehow, some way, it'll probably be by the pull-up bars, or maybe the softball field if they make their way over there walking by or something, But they're not those people. They're not generally we don't just go up to people and be like, hey man, hey, how you doing? My name's David. This is Jesse. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
see you're over here smoking spice by the handball court. You know,
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I see you're over here shooting up by the handball court or smoking spice, and before you spaz out in a spice-related seizure or fentanyl overdose, we want to invite you to CGA. You know, we're not doing that.
Have you heard the good news, bro?
Yeah, and then Jesse comes with a good news Bible. You know, like the good news. He's like, yeah, Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, show up with a Watchtower magazine.
Show up with this magazine. Yeah, but the thing is that's not realistic in here. Realistically, prison is full of a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities. It could be a dangerous place, and you can't assume that people don't have nothing on them. When you go up to someone in the yard, you can't assume that they don't have a knife on them. You can't assume that they don't got drugs on them, a syringe, anything like that. So it's better just to leave them alone and stay away from them. If they happen to be around like a workout area, a common area that where you can run into them and you get introduced to them, that's the only time you're going to really have an opportunity. Hey, what's up, man? My name's David. Oh, you just got here? Oh, cool. You know, hey, if you ever want to come into a CGA group on the weekend, we come on the night yard of our tier. Every weekend we're out there at 8 o'clock or from 7 to 8. You're always welcome to join, you know. And right then, most 9 times out of 10, they're probably never going to go near you again on their own because you can't do nothing for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing like, they're only focused on meeting drug dealers and, you know, people who can help them do whatever that they can do, you know?
So
there's nothing, you guys have nothing in common.
So let me ask you. So obviously, at some point, you know, somebody had an impact on you, where you know they gave you their hand and you took them up on that offer. And if I remember correctly, Tiny was one of those people that helped you out. How is it that he was able to make that connection?
You see, the thing is, he was able to make that connection and other people like him because I was willing to embrace it. But I had already had a willingness and a desire to look for that, to seek it out. And the first person that had actually said, I wanted to help you and I want you to get your life in order, you know, I told you that it's my wife.
Yeah.
My wife did that. My wife wanted me to be a better person, and not just for her, but just for myself, because she believed in me. And that caused me to look inward. You know, and they're there. People know where we're at. Every single dope fiend on this yard, drug addict, scoundrel, they all know where we're at. Because guess what? They knew that we were just like them, a lot of these guys. So they see that we're no longer involved with them, and they all see where we're at. They see the sports we play, the softball. They see the different little interactions that we have. They see the group, so they know where to find us. And all they have to do is and we always tell people, we're approachable. So it's just a matter of, you know, we can't, like Tiny, none of those dudes, they didn't grab me by the hand and be like, yank me over to a CGA meeting, or, you know.
They're going to jump you into CGA.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, hey, we're going to put you on, homie.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like, damn. Yeah, these fools pack me out right now with a bunch of freaking brochures. You know? Yeah, so all we can do is just be available, be approachable. We talk to everybody. We say what's up, but we know where to talk to people and where not to, you know. One of my boys told me just never help people in the shadows, and that was advice he gave me. Like, basically what he's saying is, if you're going to be working with people like that, make sure that you're in a place where people can see you, even a camera, staff member, stuff like that, because you don't want to be like,
tell me who you're with and I'll tell you who you are.
Exactly. And you don't want to go and try to help them like by the water fountain in the blind spot. You know what I'm saying? That's not the place to hold a CGA meeting right there, you know?
Yeah.
No, but this call's on. We got about 5 minutes on this call.
Less.
Do you have any other questions or concerns or comments from any of the listeners?
Let me see here. As of right now, no. But if somebody got something that you guys are curious about, maybe you guys have a loved one, husband, Sancho, or whatever, and you want to pick somebody's brain, David or Jesse, they'll probably be some of the two best people that you can ask, and you're gonna get some honest answers. Don't ask if you don't want to hear the truth. But
Yep. Yeah. No. Straight up. Yeah, we'll tell you straight up just like it is. We ain't bullshitting. We're not here to bash on nobody. We're not here to hate on nobody, nothing like that. All we can do is share our lives, our paths, and just tell you how it is. We both been there. We both been to the shoe. We both grew up on the main line, this juvenile system. So it's not, there ain't shit that we don't know. We know this. We know this whole system, this whole process. But we just want to tell everybody out there, man, all the listeners that spent all this time with us today on a Saturday, hey, we salute you. You guys, you know.
They're the real ones.
Yep. No, you're the real one, straight up. You know, you ain't colorblind. You're colorblind. You ain't worried about the system, what people think of you, and all this other shit. You know, you're just right here, just spending some time with us on lockdown. You guys were on lockdown with us today.
There it is.
It means a lot. We appreciate the company. We appreciate the support.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys listening and tuning into the channel.
And we will be in the cell, James, for the foreseeable future. So if you know, some of the listeners want to spend some time with us again or something like that, just reach out to James and be like, "What's up, man? Tell him loco, two crazy motherfuckers that we want to spend some time with them." You know,
shit.
We'll be here.
Chow Loco and Plum Loco.
Yep. You say both of our names 3 times, we show up like Beetlejuice.
You guys got me all pumped up right now. I'm about to go throw on the CDCR jacket. Talk about that. I just did a 2-hour shoot term or not shoot term, but lockdown term with you guys.
Hey, that's what it is, man. And hey, just start singing. You got to start singing. I found love on a 2-way street. That's gonna be your song.
All right.
Just so you know. You gotta listen to Cholo oldies.
Yeah, you know what? Since you guys are gonna be locked down for the foreseeable future, we definitely gotta go ahead and bring you guys up, a little bit more, and have you guys make those connections with our audience.
No, that's cool, man. Appreciate you guys, and as always, I just want to send a shout out to my beautiful wife, and I'm doing everything that I can to get out this motherfucker with half my sanity. I don't want to come out with all my sanity, though. Honestly, I need to be a little bit, I need to crack up just a little bit. Gives me character, like a chip tooth.
Hey, you talking about character? I got a quick story before we get hit with the notification. One time, me and my boy were up in the Glass House in Van Nuys, and at that time I think I was like 16, and I had lied. I said I was 18, so we're in the Glass House, and there was this one dude in there because when you're locked up, you be running into some weird, some strange people. There was this one dude that he was missing his left breast. So he didn't have any muscle. He had muscle on one side, but he didn't have muscle on the other side. And we used to call him El Despechado because he only had one. He only had one breast.
There was a fool in the halls, Jess. I don't know if you remember, but we called him One Teta. He was missing one of his nipples. Yeah, he was from Salsa Indio or something like that.
Oh wow!
Everybody called him One Teta.
I'm surprised I don't know him because that sounds like somebody I would have been roasting.
For sure.
I would have definitely had him on my radar.
Hey, on the next one, I think we should do one on the strange individuals that we run into through the time that you guys been incarcerated.
Oye, sinceros.
Hey, oye. Absolutely. There's one here right now, honestly. Rob. Rob is the craziest old motherfucker that I've probably ran into in a long time.
Rob.
The one in 2 block.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Crazy Rob. And I've known him for a long time, James. I've been in here with him for years, man.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
We got hit. I can't hear you guys. You guys went out.
Gentlemen.
All right, you're back.
We are. Oh, yeah. No, so, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here.
Yep. Thank you guys, everybody, for listening. All the regulars, Marlene, Chubby, Jessica, we send our love to you guys always.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
We haven't had Lex Luthor, Bruce Willis in a while, but we got to send a shout out to them as well. All the other regulars. Iceman.
It looks blue.
Yeah, we didn't hear from Iceman today, but we send our love to him as well. And SoCal Fish Slayer, if he happens to tune in after the fact, we send ours and to our families, to our loved ones, everybody else that supports us. Thank you guys for being here. We're here if you guys need us.
All right, like I say around here, lights like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that, we are out. A rato.